All right, and the word is that Nick Del Santo is going to have a role here that one of my spies tells me, keep an eye out for it, see what he does. Whether he goes to Chris Judd or not, that might be the big role. But let's keep a look at it now, because he's in the centre along with Lenny Hayes, and there we go. Milne and Walker are into it straight away.
Oh, they're into it too.
Left, right and centre.
And throwing him.
Look at this. Lynchy, you better call this. This reminds me of a time in the grand final.
Well, nothing to be proud of, Ed, but turn the clock back a few years, and this has spilled over as the game starts, actually in the middle of the ground.
You call the game, Dwayne, I'll call the fight.
Amazing to think they started the game, and there's no free kick for the wrestle. So.
And it's still on, and jumpers have been pulled off backs. The goal umpire's in there. Walker has been absolutely disrobed down there in the forward pocket. Let's have a look what's going on in the goal square. Look at this, unbelievable. The emergency umpire is out. There were a number of punches here. Let's have a look at the replay again as the ball's in the forward pocket. It started with sort of the traditional push and shove, and then it developed from there. We'll come back and show you the lot in a minute.
McLean has a shot towards goal in the meantime, and it's not through, or behind. Well, this is amazing.
Wow.
And Andrew Walker just there looking as it spilled over. There's Milne's just thrown the right, and then a few jumper punches, then it spilled over. And plenty happening.
Oh, big torpedo kick out.
So fines are coming. Big torpedo straight down the middle. Sard gets on the end of it. Flicks up the handball. Millerer gets it from Hayes. Runs inside 50. This would be the perfect start. Just needs to finish. That's one of the best goals coast to coast of the year.
That was an outstanding goal and a really good start from the Saints to go from the length of the ground, and Carlton had really pushed up their defence just to really compress that forward half to hold the ball in. But once the ball got over the back, it resulted in a really easy goal to Millerer. Then he had a very good game in round 7 when they defeated the Carlton Football Club, and he's off to a good start again.
What a massive big torp, the kick out. That was huge, wasn't it?
Wasn't it a delight to see?
Yeah.
And it just spiralled beautifully. So just short of the centre circle.
Well, Alistair Lynch reminiscing at both ends of the ground. Beautiful big torpedoes from Big Al, and a bit of a blue one in the forward pocket as well. We're off to a flyer here. We've been going a minute. We've had one of the best blues of the year, and we've had one of the best goals of the year. You're seeing it in unbelievable high definition here at Etihad Stadium, and we're going to get a ball up in the centre of the ground. Now a free kick. Oh, so McLean was a bit stiff there. Had to knock it clear, umpire said. So it'll be interesting to watch today. The umpires were red hot in a couple of games about the push in the back rule, certainly last night at the MCG. In the meantime, it's Armitage who kicks it forward for the Saints up to the forward 50. At the fall of the ball, Robinson tries to flick it out for the Carlton side and succeeds. Walker has got a new jumper, and he's public enemy number 1 and number 1 out there at the moment. It's picked up by Dempster, the acting captain. He kicks it right to the spot. It was a beautiful kick. And who's on the end but Brendon Goddard, who'll line up 20 metres out on a 45-degree angle. He plays on straight away. He's doing the Milne kick around the body, and he's nailed it. 2 goals to the Saints.
Well, this is a similar start to last week for the Blues. They conceded the first 6 goals to the Gold Coast Suns, and they just have really struggled to get their hand on the ball. They've been blown off the park just at the moment, and some really good use. Shawnee Dempster's had a fantastic season, gets involved here with a nice kick to the top of the goal square. Saw that Goddard was there, but kicked it to favour his run, and certainly over the back. Nice easy chest mark in the end. And as we see so often these days, players just want to take the pressure off by playing on. It's only just scraped in, but it is a goal.
A big job for Rhys O'Keefe playing on Brendon Goddard.
So Walker's not on Milne at the moment. And from the restart, Cruiser and McAvoy. And a fend off from Cruiser. McAvoy will take it. 2 boys from the same draft. Both top 10. Cruiser picked 1. McAvoy picked 9. Kick inside 50. Wilkes couldn't take possession decisively. Umpire will ball it up.
He's been a good pickup, hasn't he, Wilkes? Simpson medalist last year, boys. Kicked 3 goals last week and 5 against Melbourne 3 weeks ago.
He has been a really handy pickup, there's no doubt about that. And, so has Dempster set up that last goal coming from the Sydney Swans. He's developed into a really classy player.
Ledger got the handball out. Millerer. Judd flicks it out, but he's put it in the wrong spot. Will kick forward is going to be marked and picked off by White. So Simon White, his 17th game for the Blues in the back pocket. We're in the famous number 43.
We've got Stephen Milne down here just trying to get his way back onto the ground, Ed. He's been off for about 3 minutes since that big wrestle. He's absolutely spent. He can't move down here.
He's Scotland. He's had a great career at Carlton after an equally impressive career at Collingwood. Played in the grand final. Curnow, one of the emergencies who's come in today for 2 changes, and Judd for the second time in 2 possessions turns it over.
Yeah, but Del Santo gave Judd a little bit to go on with there after that disposal as well.
So the 2 changes to be joined us late. Curnow and Ellard in, Tui and Carazzo out for the Blues. Goddard. Will this be his last game for the Saints? Been a lot of speculation about Brendon Goddard. Stephen hugs the boundary line. Will grab out there Sipos. Normally uses it well.
Re-signed during the week as well, which is good news for a lifelong St Kilda supporter.
It's wide. Good pluck, Yaron. Got up there. Judged it beautifully. Handball not so good, but Walker under pressure. Straight down the middle they travel. Tom Bell to half forward. It's Luke Mitchell. Couldn't get on the end of that. One of the first gamers for the Blues. Hayes hands it up. Ledger, long, full forward. Wilkes down there. Milne front and square. Oh, it didn't bounce kindly for him. It was grand final-esque, that bounce. Still made it his. As to thread the handball through. Bryce Gibbs bounces across full-back. One of the whipping boys for the Carlton fans this year. Got to push downfield, and Arnfield would take off.
So Arnfield, beautiful kick up forward. Wait, when he presents, Carlton looks a better side, and Arnfield kept going. Now he can run to the 50. He looks up. He decides to go short. It was a good lead and a good mark taken by Garlett, who has kicked in his career 127 goals, and he will line up from 45 metres out on a 45-degree angle for Carlton's first.
He worked hard for that, Jeff Garlett. He was leading back to the square for the long kick. He's got Geary as an opponent, and then when the long kick wasn't forthcoming, he led straight back up at Arnfield.
Kicked 17 of his 28 goals from about this distance this year, and that's why he likes to be inside the 30. He puts it through. And Carlton are on the scoreboard as far as majors are concerned. They trail by 5 points.
Well, that was better use going inside 50. And here we'll see the lead there from Garlett as he pushed very hard at the ball carrier. And that's something we didn't see last week. They should have probably been punished with the turnover goal against just 2 minutes beforehand when Tom Bell tried to kick into the half-forward line. But that was a much better forward 50 entry than we've seen, especially in the early part of last week and in the first 5 minutes of this game. So good start. They got a goal on the board, and now they're in the game.
And still inside 50 for them. The 2 first gamers, Patrick McCarthy and Luke Mitchell, essentially playing full forward and now centre half forward.
And Carlton are happy to go with a +1, so they're playing the extra man in defence.
Cruiser bets slick. Toe poke works for Murphy. Pops it wide. Simpkin read it okay. Bounce was unkind. Wanted to go backwards rather than forward. Gone. Dumped. Splendid tackle, Robinson. One of the ins for the Blues this week. Wasn't part of last week's debacle.
Well, I think
Robinson.
He was one of those players they really missed last week. Not for ball use, but his hardness around the contest.
He played 2 games in the last 6 weeks as well, and they've missed him at a crucial time of this season. The Blues have missed him, and I think Brett Ratten has missed him. Arnfield hands it off. Yaron, and he loads up, keeps it low, plenty on it. Cruiser back there, and it's marked on the behind line by Gwilt.
He picks the ball up beautifully in the air, Gwilt, doesn't he, Alistair? Before we saw him run off his opponent and then set up that goal that went down when Hayes got the kick out onto the wing position. And on that occasion, he just read it beautifully. He
does, and that's the sign of a really good defender. If you read it off the boot quicker than your forward, you can have those high intercept marks.
And Hayes was in all sorts there. Should have gone. He just let the ball go once he was grabbed. He took them on, tried to ride the bump, but got cleaned up and should have been a Carlton free kick. Look at this.
Yeah, he had options. He had options, you're right, Ed. But that is the philosophy these days. As long as the ball eventually comes out, they don't tend to pay holding the ball anymore.
Situation for Carlton to just turn out of the pack and do it beautifully. Bell, thank you very much. No one went at him. Everyone was guarding space, and Bell grabbed the ball and kicked the goal. And the Blues hit the front for the first time today.
Well, I don't know how many games Tom Bell saw of Anthony Koutafoutis when he was living up in Brisbane, but he's all but a dead ringer. He's a really exciting player, and in Game 7, that's a handy goal. As we said, probably his last forward 50 entry, he turned the ball over, wasn't great, but he's made up for it in spades on this occasion. In congestion, found space, and finished the job. Nice goal from the young rookie-listed player from Brisbane.
David King, that's exactly what you were talking about early on, that Carlton have got to get that ball up within 30 metres and get their midfielders into that situation.
Absolutely. Give them a chance to have a set structure in their forward line. 2 goals from that last week and 1 already this week's a great start for the Blues.
From the ball up, Kreuzer fighting on. Curnow, what are the late inclusions? Caught. Secondary ball up. Final game of the season for both teams. Both teams were considered finals contenders most of this year. Up there with the favourites pre-season. Want to finish off strongly. Free kick, high tackle, Ledger breaks free. Both teams playing young players. Wilkes, position 180, dropped it. Hard to believe.
Well, you wonder if the sun had something to do with that. Dwayne would like to make excuses for him. He led early, he got clear. It was the perfect kick.
I think there's no doubt he just lost it in the sun there.
Yeah, and that, as you said, Ed, at the top of the show, this is where the ball just comes straight out of that sun from the other end of the ground at the locket end and can be really difficult to see.
Quick palm down. Curnow thought about the boundary, like Robinson instead. Palm down by McAvoy front. Sipos, Simpkin, Geary, centering kick. Looked okay initially for Saab. Offhand Simpson.
Garlett can get clean.
Now Brock McLean's running to the square. Garlett needs to hit him on the run here. Horrendous kick. Makes him work to the pocket for it instead. Maybe still good enough. No, Gwilt wraps him up. And Waite taken to the line. They messed that up big time.
Yeah, I think Jeff Garlett's over apologising to Brock McLean as we speak. He's all on his own running to the goal square and he just slews it off the outside of the boot.
He missed his boot. That's what we're talking about. Those poor inside 50 entries.
Stephen, free kick. There we go. Umpire describes it. Attacked in front on. It's good these days. You get a free kick and the director's notes. So Stanley's getting the free kick. We thought it was Stephen originally.
This is dangerous.
And Stanley is somebody that the Saints have got high hopes for.
We always get worried when players play on a cross ground, not knowing if they've got an option or not.
So Ledger's got it. Beautiful kick of the football. His last kick up forward was an absolute cracker, and that was a good one too. And Big Sipos takes the mark.
He's been one of the finds of the season. Just really handy athlete.
He used to sit in front of the calling box at Waverley with his dad and watch the Saints playing as a young kid. He loves them. As going forward is Judd. Beautiful kick, and Waite. Doesn't he present beautifully, Big Waite? Just floats through the air and takes the mark. Another tough year with injury, bad back. But when he's on form, so too is Carlton. So Judd to Waite, that's what the Carlton fans wanted to see. They lead by a point just to make it 7.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's played 10 games, I mean, he's a very good athlete, good lead up forward as well, but he just adds to the structure and just gives some direction. So he's missed half the season, which has been a massive out.
Beautiful play by Chris Judd. The give and go, kept running, hit the target twice in 2 kicks, and as a result of that, Carlton go from the wing to a set shot at goal, and 6 points goes on the scoreboard. So congratulations, Chris Judd. A masterclass in midfield playing there and in disposal. Carlton lead by 7 points. Waite gets his first, and the Blues get their 3rd in a row.
Well, not a lot to talk about in terms of disparity of statistics. It's 7-6 inside 50s in favour of St Kilda. Possessions very similar. Efficiency of disposal is very similar as well. Contested possessions identical. So it really is just at the moment who's making the most of their opportunities, and Carlton hitting the target there when they should have probably done so a moment or so before, with Garlett missing Brock McLean. They make amends there.
Judd having rested full forward at the moment. Scott Waters, first year at the helm. Armitage clearing kick, but it's wide. Murphy about to pounce. Carlton about to reload. Gibbs. Curnow having an impact. McLean from 50 keeps it low. Miller up. Read that beautifully. To the open side they peel. Ray. Stanley. Got Goddard. Hits him just inside the line, and Goddard wants to have an impact as well, you can tell.
Good kick up the line towards Graham. Did well, held the mark inside to Hayes. He was going to get run down. Yep, they've chopped this up, they've mucked it up. Scotland now just jinks his way through half-back. McCarthy, the first gamer, that's a lovely kick out wide.
He's finding a bit of it, Brock McLean.
He is indeed. Gets the handball going. He'll get it back again from Gibbs. Handball further afield to McCarthy, who ran to the good spot, gave it back to Gibbs from 55. He just chips it out, and this bloke doesn't need to be 5 metres clear. And there's a lot of shaking of the heads there. Brendon Goddard saying, hang on a second, who's supposed to be on him? And Judd.
They're off.
He doesn't like kicking that much at goals, so they were asleep to St Kilda. No one went back into the hole there, boys.
No, it was really disappointing drop-off, and the St Kilda defenders would be really disappointed with that. But the big thing for Carlton, they're up well above 70% for their kicking efficiency. At times last week, they were in the 40s, so that has been the real transition from last week so far.
And Betts de-wedges himself, which with his shorts could be fatal. Comes in.
Well, it's a shocking stagger that he takes where he runs out wide to the right in the middle of his run-up, and that's exactly where he kicks the footy. It's a very odd run-up. You have a look at him. He looks normal. Then he just starts heading out to the right away from the target.
Got that on his shin, didn't he?
Yeah, and looks surprised when you miss.
So it's not even a Buddy Franklin steady arc. It's a late jump out to the right.
It's a jiggle. It's a shimmy on the way through, as if he's trying to lose someone. Geary. Back pocket. Had Ray short up the line. Told to go. Back to Wilt. Trying to work it out by hand. Ray. Montagna. Run down. Brilliant tackle. And Betts rewarded.
That's probably his most important role in the forward half for Carlton.
Just the required 15 to the pocket, and here is an opportunity for the first game of Patrick McCarthy. Can he be the next great McCarthy? From the pocket. Comes from Sacred Heart, school that gave us the Corns boys, and from Glenelg, of course, gave Carlton some star players like Stephen Kernahan, Bryce Gibbs, Andrew McKay. It's across the face, though. No first goal from that kick. Come through for a behind.
So the Blues just steadying at the moment. Lead by 9 points. St Kilda just finding it hard to get through the midfield. Ray's got it. Next kick important for the Saints as Del Santo kicks up to the wing, and presenting well and copping it high there in the head was Stanley. Did it well, though. Now a chance for Ledger. He's good by foot, has a bounce, looks up, needs to find a bit of space, gets it back, and then finally gets it over to Ray. Montagna again gets cleaned up, just that extra step, and he's been hurt there. That got him right in the head, and away they go. Cruiser over to Judd. Judd kicks long to the forward line. Up goes Big McCarthy again. As Mitchell, in fact, Mitchell on the bounce has a kick. Is it his first goal? It is. Great play by Mitchell. One of two first gamers, McCarthy and Mitchell. And that's a double whammy for the Blues. They've cleaned up Montagna, who's got a tagging role today on Murphy. Has been doing it pretty well, and have a look at that. Bang, good hip and shoulder. Straight through him went Robinson, and as a result of that, Judd makes them pay.
He should have taken the mark in the first place, Luke Mitchell, but he does join an elite club, kicking a goal with his first kick in league footy, and it wasn't a bad one either.
How'd you go, Chief? Your goal with your first one?
I got a hand pass in the goal square, Lynchy, so couldn't miss.
You did. Beautiful work, nice work, and the young fellow will be very happy. Been at the club a couple of years now, and just really looks like he's a likely candidate over the next few years for Carlton.
Shoulder problems pre-season this year and last year as well, and he's wearing the famous number 25. Jezelenko, Fevelenko, he's the first one to wear the 25 since Feb, so a big number to be worn in game one. Gibbs flicks it up. Yaron. Play on advantage here. Oh no, it's Milne's ball.
Relax, Stephen, you're free.
Relax, Stephen, you're free was the call.
He can't believe it, Nick Duigan.
I didn't see that one.
Wilkes one-on-one.
I reckon he might have antagonised a little and then got some retaliation and scored the free kick.
To Graham, who gives it every ounce. That's against the run of play.
And that certainly didn't spin the stock standard drop punt way, but Stevie Milne just having a little chat to the umpire there about this, and now here's the free kick. Good tackle.
There's a free kick for the tackle.
Yeah, absolutely.
He then dropped the forearm onto the head of Dygan, and it was Dygan that then responded, and that's what he's been pinged for. So the retaliator gets pinged. It was a great finish, although it wasn't a great kick off the boot from Graham. This is a wobbler. It is just a half-shank wobbler, but he has got some serious length in his kick.
That's hit the fence.
We saw him unload that big torp out of the goal square that set up the first goal. Now he kicks a long drop punt.
65-metre floater.
That's a goal, and the Saints badly needed it, ending a run of 4 consecutive goals to Carlton. Walker. The Saints fans have got it for him today after a pretty heated exchange with Milne in the first couple of seconds. In fact, before the ball was bounced, they were punching on and ripping each other's jumpers off. Hayes, the give and go. Great play. Kicks it inside 50. Another chance here for the Saints. Great mark taken there. And Cripps can line up from 48 metres out. Not much of an angle. In fact, the right angle for a right footer here to just load up and put it through the middle.
Well, the Saints, they've been inside 50 on 11 occasions now, and the Blues 10, yet they still trail by that 9 points before this one. These two men, just the relations aren't fantastic at the moment.
I thought Milne was half extending the olive branch there, and I don't think Andrew Walker wanted anything to do with it.
I think he hit him over the head with the olive branch, though. That's the problem. Here we go for Jamie Cripps, who comes in, and he just was always going to the right-hand side with that kick.
Brett Ratten up in the coach's box.
For the last time.
Really, it'd be a funny situation. I mean, he'd be frustrated to see the team win.
Dwayne, you're all things Port Adelaide. Should they have a good look at this man?
I think he will get the job. Unless they can entice Rodney Ed from Collingwood, Ed. What's the chances of that happening?
None.
Right.
None. Or none.
Well, there you go, none.
So Ratten gets the job then.
Didn't want to consider that a bit longer, Ed.
Sorted that one out. Yarran, half back. Looks around. Not a lot to go to.
Just giving you a grab for when he gets it.
Kerno feeds it back. Walker, Murphy, Eddie Betts, and the reach of the captain today, Sean Dempster, who tossed the coin and will get a ball in.
So throw in on the outer side. The Blues with memberships of 45,801 this year. The scoreboard saying the Carlton Football Club will have to thank the members. And it's going to be interesting times for the Blues coming through in the next couple of weeks or so when they decide on who their new coach will be. Ball up. Cruiser, who started the year just in unbelievable fashion. When he is really going, so too is Carlton. Good battle there against McAvoy. As Dwayne said earlier, coming from the same draft. Good play by Hayes, got it going. Farron Ray now in the left boot. Kicks it up towards the goal square. Off hands. They're losing it in the sun again there for the second time. Wilkes should play in sunglasses, I reckon, down that end. He's lost it twice. The chip round the corner was a good one. And Simpson takes the mark in the back pocket. Looks up, not much on.
No, he has to really forced to go short. Otherwise, he's going to kick long to where he's outnumbered.
And that's where he goes. Sipos has the sit from behind, goes up, went for the punch instead. Eddie Betts was front and square, did it beautifully. Off the hands of the pack, he gets it over to Big Cruiser. Now he's got 80 metres in front of himself. He kicks it from 65. It wobbles, it wobbles, it wobbles, and just misses.
A tumble punt.
That is a very generous summation of that kick.
He made the right decision, though. If he took time to have a bounce, he would have been run down from behind. So he knew he could cover the journey.
Hang on, this might be a free kick here. Is it? What's going on? There's a Carlton play.
O'Keefe was knocked down behind play, and he looks okay now.
Yeah.
He's a tough nut. He's from Kilburn, and clubs don't come much tougher, I've got to say, in Adelaide than Kilburn.
It was an insight into Kilburn quickly.
It used to be called Little Chicago back in the old days. That's how tough a club it is. So he should wear that and wear it with pride, I think. Geary gives it up. Sipos runs through the middle, pounces it along, and beautifully. No sun problem there. And he can line up without the sunglasses on by Wilkes.
Let's just see what's this next to the goal post there.
No, it's not much. He just steps in his way. Malera steps in his way to give a teammate a little bit more space on the lead. So I wouldn't have thought there was anything untoward in that.
Is it a free kick? Not within 5 metres of the ball.
So the probability here, 70%. That's all players from this spot. It's a 34-degree angle. It is 24 metres out the man on the mark. That's the equation. And it was never in doubt from the time it left his boot.
He's been an interesting player, hasn't he, Bo Wilkes, since coming over from the West Coast Eagles. He was pretty much known as a defender over in the West, but he's been used up forward as a little bit of a pinch hit at different stages. He's looked effective. He's also been one of the first to drop out of the side when there's been players coming back, but looks to be making good use of some of the opportunities coming his way, and he has proven himself capable of kicking multiple goals on a number of occasions.
Well, he's the man keeping Justin Kaczynski out of the side at the moment. There's the centre clearances dominated by the Saints 6-1. So that's a concern for the Blue Baggers. The Saints well and truly on top of that facet.
All right, so going hard on Judd at the moment there is Stephen as the ball comes out. That's a clearance for the Blues, but it's not going to last too long. Good play there by Geary. Did the old pinball, just bounced off beautifully. Wilt's kick, look at that on the left foot, went 60 metres right to the right spot too, and they'll take it over the line and out of bounds there with Saad, the man. We have a throw in on the outer side. I'm really impressed by Sipos guys today.
Yeah, and playing down backhand, playing across half back for a lot of the time. And you know, we saw him first burst onto the scene as a forward, but he does use the ball well.
And he is living the dream. I remember he used to sit with his dad Attila at front of the old calling box at Waverley Park in the old days, barracking for the Saints when they were sharing the ground with Hawthorn in the last years of Waverley Park. It's great to see a young man be able to get the chance at the club he loves as Betts kicks and misses the target. They're wide open here, the Blues. Fantastic play, almost by Garlick. Umpire said in the back.
You know, Eddie Betts just didn't sum up the situation well enough. He had plenty of space to carry the ball further and probably even shoot for goal himself.
Good play by Stanley there. Knew he was under pressure and just punched it to the front, going at a man front and square. Armitage's tackle was a beauty, and Ledger coughs it up. Armitage back to Scotland, over his head, in fact, and now it's danger. Scotland. Two players ran to the Carlton player, Scotland, which opened up McLean. McLean's kick is a good one, and the Blues can reload on centre wing.
McCarthy. Robinson. The Blues have won this quarter so far, 28-25. They've owned a lot of the ball, and yet the Saints finishing hard late, threatening to take the lead in a quarter time. McLean back. Walker keeps it low. Knocked down by Sipos, straight to Graham, to Wilkes. Not sure what that was, but it was ugly.
He's in a bit of trouble, Graham. He hurt himself when he landed awkwardly after that marking contest a minute ago.
McCarthy wide to Waite, and he held that. Opens it up, hoping for McLean, and he plucks it. That was too easy.
That was a really good mark from McLean, but also a good kick from Waite to quickly assess the situation and put it right out in front of Brock McLean just so he could hold his direct opponent under the ball.
Hard to tell who he's playing on. At different stages, he might be playing wide of Lenny Hayes, Brock McLean. It's very difficult to get up some of these matchups in the middle of the ground when they don't go near each other.
Third season at the Blues, has been his best, 15 games. Just 4 games last year. Should bend that back. Not enough. 40 seconds left on the clock. 4-point lead to Carlton in Brett Ratten's last game as coach.
You might have heard the round of applause. That was for Brett Ratten coming down from the coach's box to the boundary line. The Carlton faithful behind the goals at the locket end. That's the left of screen, giving him a big ovation.
A little bit different to when he was walking down through the crowd last week.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
O'Keefe's kick. And Milne marks on centre wing. As you can see, the clock ticking down. The Saints, I think, thinking 4 points is a good result, having got down to about 13 points behind at one stage. Kick up the line. Ball stays in play. And now Walker takes it over the line. Throw in, 6 seconds left.
Ed Curno's done a good job. He's running with Nick Del Santo. Del Santo's had just the one kick for the quarter. He's got to find a way to break that hard tag, Nick Del Santo.
So throw in. Ball punched away, and the siren will sound. Has been a very entertaining opening quarter here on Fox Footy for a game of so many different subplots. The last game for Brett Ratten as the coach of the Carlton Football Club. The Blues, after such a disappointing effort last week, need to finish off the season with a win. The Saints mix and matching a little bit here. And, of course, we got off to a blue at the start in the forward pocket. Some great goals. It's a game that's got everything. We'll be back right after the break here on Fox Footy.
Someone needs to go to Brock McLean. He's having too much space.
I reckon it's Lenny, but you can never be 100% sure.
They're side by side for this. Hayes and McLean, and Hayes almost the takeaway. Got it to Goddard.
How?
Yes, through some
one-handed
arms and legs. Montagna tried to flick it out. Goddard does clear it to Graham, who again pumps it. Milne, Walker, Milne free.
St.Kilda.
Walker thought it was his. It ain't his.
Every backman does that.
Yeah, and I think Andrew Walker was very ambitious to toss up that it may have been his free kick, but just got the arms around Milne's waist and tries to throw him off the ball here. Here's the hold, and then just tries to move him, and that is a free kick.
55 for the season for Stephen Milne. 7 or 8 today. He could win the Coleman. Needs to kick his first. And that's across the face, much to the Carlton fans' delight.
He's had another very impressive season.
And yet,
above 50.
According to some rumours, the All-Australian selectors a little keener on Eddie Betts than Stephen Milne for the forward pocket position, because Betts has had more assists.
I could not see that happening, Dwayne.
Okay.
I know you're very well informed.
Well, they usually have a couple of shockers.
that would be, I must say.
Walker, just to get talk back on Dwayne's show. I think they do it. But anyway, they'll throw it in the forward pocket.
It'll be interesting if who gets that spot there. I think Cyril Rioli's got his hand well and truly up.
True.
So throw in the forward 50 for St Kilda. This time kicking into the shade. Montagna over the top of the ball. And we'll have a ball up. They're still having their own private war there. Look at that, little cuffs going left, right and centre there. It's like being back at school in the old days. One across the ear.
You went to...
Oh, there we go. It's going on.
It's just little jabs and punches going left, right and centre. Stevens' handball misses Milne, which is probably just as well, because I reckon he can get a free kick in, Milne.
We'll go to Bell.
Go the other way.
Milne's giving him a little one under the chin. Not much in it, but enough.
Had that handball come from Stevens, Milne, 3 Carlton blokes were going to kill him. They were going to go at him and try and bury him. It's always good to see. Up goes Waite. Good fly. Couldn't quite grab it. Cruiser knocked it down. Carlton just shinned the ball forward. Dempster goes for it. Leaves it. Ray twisting and turning. He's got some support, but it finally comes from Gwilt, whose kick was a good one. Goddard. Little chip forward. Oh, it's clean bowled. Hayes, they're in trouble now. Bryce Gibbs, because
Garlett's
miles away is Garlett if they can see him.
Another shocking kick. Oh, if that goes out of bounds, he's been burnt twice.
Well, he burnt one himself.
He was the burner.
Yeah, he was the burner, you're right. Yeah. Now he's the burnee.
So he knows what it's like to be on both ends of a shocking kick.
Here's Milne ringing the bell.
Oh,
come on.
Look at that. You still can get weeks for acting.
Yeah,
just
point.
reprimands.
Bell Shakespeare, I think he's with.
Very nice. Stephen to Ray. Trouble. Scotland lays the tackle. Not clear.
Advantage St Kilda.
Advantage paid. Armitage. And now there's a race. Little tackle from Yaron. Pushes Ahmed Saad out of the way. Good battle one-on-one. Fantastic football from both there. Saad wins out. Short pass, superb.
He's done a hamstring.
To line up.
He's done a hamstring, Chris Yaron. He's coming from the ground. I think he's done a right hamstring in that tackle.
He just gave a clip then too.
More acting, or was it legitimate?
I reckon he might have given a little bit of chin music there.
Okay. We'll show that one again on replay. So Armitage played every game this season other than last week when he was kind of rested, really. And just inside 50. And he squeezes it in. Saints take the lead.
That was nice work from David Armitage, the young boy from Mackay. Here's the hamstring strain where Yaron hurts his hamstring just here somewhere. Yeah, and then things start to get a little bit heated after that when he gets some attention from Brendon Goddard. But Armitage was at the start of that chain, I'm pretty sure, off half back. Now here,
just a little tickle. That'll be insufficient force.
Oh, I would hope so. So yeah, but just not worth.
Just a reminder that I could land one here if you keep this up.
That's right, and I'm injured. I'm going off.
So I've got nothing to lose.
No, that's right. So good work from Armitage, and a nice goal to hit the front for the Saints.
Great play by Sard. It was a really good battle, that one, and Armitage makes it pay. The Saints back in front for the first time since the 9-minute mark of the first term. Up they go. And it was McAvoy who got the tap. Can Carlton get the break, though? Bell does it nicely. Just breaks through and then thumps it long inside 50 into the sun. Good luck trying to mark that. Off hands. Wilt almost got it. Now here's a chance for Mitchell. His second kick in football is a goal too, was it? No, just missed to the near side.
Play on, forward, play on. Eddie Hall.
So just chipping it around in the back line. Del Santo, called to play on off one step, just lobs it up. And look at that, that's lazy football, that. Over the line and out of bounds.
You got a thought, Jace, on whether the roof should be closed at all times when we have this issue with the sun?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, isn't it? You want the conditions to be as good for players as they possibly can. And if that means closing the roof, well, then close it. What's it there for?
Well, I think so. I'm with you there. Got the ability to get rid of one of these issues.
McLean hacks it inside 50. Quill attacked it well. Handball out to Graham. Gang tackled, and he dropped it as he was tackled. Well, Eddie Betts didn't want to play on there.
No, he didn't.
He was simply told to play on. Simpson to the square. Garlett hands it out. Mitchell. Good strong tackle, but no prior opportunity. Garlett towards goal, and he misses to the near side. And more pushes and shoves, more calls from the umpire. Boys settle down. Here it is again. Now, he didn't really want to play on here.
And as soon as you sort of look up and go forward of the mark, umpires are quite keen for the game to get moving. Graham gets the handball going. So St Kilda, big chance here. Which way will the ball bounce? The Saints running. Stevens is one. Just gets there in time. The cavalry arrive for Carlton. Out the back, Heath Scotland. Beautiful kick of the football normally. Looks up, just waits and holds and then delivers beautifully. That's great play. Heath Scotland. Mark taken by Dygan. So Nick Dygan looks up the line. And the teammates appear. Good handball over the top from Robinson. Now they're a chance to get going. Cruiser gets the handball going, wants to give and go. It was probably a bad handball. Never handball to a ruckman. That's the old adage, isn't it? Especially one standing still. Ledger in the middle of the ground, runs into trouble. That's gone through it. Good tackle by Gibbs. Free kick, Carlton.
Just a comedy of errors at the moment, isn't it? Just need a little bit of composure here. Hit a few targets, maintain possession. He's brought McLean in space again just for a change.
Yep, and Scotland hits him right on the chest. McLean's kick is a shocker, though, forward. And getting across to take the mark is Simpkin.
Well, the Saints had big numbers back there. Now they're in strife here.
Murphy sees the handball option. Again, Mitchell, unselfish, gave to Waite. He's got two. Blues back in front.
Well, that was terrible work from the Saints, and because they've had extra numbers back, they had the ability to probably run with hands, but as soon as you have an errant handball or a short kick in your back half, you're going to be in strife. Now, this is the first one that's gone awry, and saw the numbers they had around the ball, but Carlton just too easy to run into an open goal, and they just take the lead back.
It's one of those where the kick's intended for the deeper fellow, but Goddard thinks it's for him. He puts a finger up, scores it for the other bloke, and then there's a turnover.
Poor communication was the key there.
But fun as a forward when you run into an open goal, and you see how many tiers you can kick it up, and he got it up to the top tier, Jared Waite.
Yeah, the big barrel from a metre.
So 2 goals to Jared Waite, such an important player in the Carlton lineup. Cruiser, good tap. Judd almost got it. Stanley did. McAvoy did really well there. Kicked it forward inside 50, and a strong mark's been paid. And Wilkes
might have caught one in the eye as well. He's got good hands, Bo Wilkes.
It's either the sun in his eye or somebody's finger at the moment for Wilkes. And Bo Wilkes, who kicked 3 last week, has got 1 on the board so far, having dropped a couple of marks because he couldn't see the ball coming forward with the sun.
Certainly giving Simon White something to think about.
So he'll walk, as you can see, from the sunlight into the shade at the locket end from 30 metres out, 45-degree angle. It's got underneath it. Umpire's a good look at it. He likes it. And so too does the umpire. And the Saints are back in front.
That was a genuinely good contested mark. I mean, Simon White's a fairly inexperienced player, but from Wilkes' point of view, he'd be wrapped with that. Just protected the drop zone, held his player off with the one arm, and that's fantastic grab. And he finished off his good work with a nice shot for goal. Just tested that right post, but snuck in, did enough to grab the lead back.
Should we be surprised by the fact that Justin Kosicki couldn't get a game today?
Well, I think if you pick it on form, how many talls can you play forward? And if Wilkes is going to be the designated tall forward, and he's kicked 3 goals last week.
Down in the goal scorers.
It's Milne and Walker going at it again. You hear the roar from the crowd.
They've got their own designated umpire at the moment. It's Jordan Bannister standing side by side with them. In the meantime, play continues. Sipos to Graham. Stephen out of side. Dygan with him. Stanley dragged down. Stripped of it. White did well, but the handball wasn't quite as good. Still gets it regardless. His handball better. Murphy on the move. O'Keefe to Scotland. Garlett can't jump as high as Sipos. Had the reach and had the poise there. Now Cripps can get and go. Open space ahead. Unkind bounce initially. Robinson comes at him. Floats it to Dempster. And now Carlton shutting them down. 38-37. A tight game from the outset. Cruiser with the reach. Wilkes with the better read. Should have marked it. Just tipped into his hands. And the umpire gives them an enormous amount of time, but finally whistles for a ball.
Forget about that, Dwayne. Let's have a look
All
what
right.
happened. This is a beauty. Get ready for this, guys. Sit down. Watch this. Watch Milne. And there's the water bottle, and he gets the squirt in the face.
He gives him a clip on the back of the head.
Walker squirted him in the face.
See what? He's lucky he didn't make better contact with that.
We've seen fines for water bottle squirts, haven't we?
Have we?
I think we have.
Really? Well, I think we'd, as long as this doesn't spill over into something a bit more serious, here's a squirt over the right shoulder.
It's giving every indication it is going to develop into something bigger.
Yeah, one of those hits will flush.
I wouldn't want Powerade squirted into my face either, to be honest.
That's an inflammatory action, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Don't know how that would go as a defence.
So what's an appropriate response?
Well, it's a bit spilling over here too. Armitage has given Eddie Betts one.
So Armitage, the recipient of the free.
Yeah.
This is good. Spot fires everywhere. This is a game that, in theory, doesn't mean anything.
Substitution.
But because it's
Dwayne.
only for pride, it means everything.
Everyone's tired.
Kingy, what was that?
Substitution, boys. Chris Sharon out of the game, as we said, with that hamstring, and Allard now taking the field.
So, Allard, one of the late inclusions for the Blues. 2 out, 2 in, just before play. Long kick. Centre half forward. Good attack from White. And brings it down for the Blues. He had to really meet that. And he met it well.
Good call, Dwayne. He was the only one that genuinely attacked it.
Beautiful mark. So White's called the play on now. Kicks out wide, looking for his skipper. Judd to the boundary line, protected the ball. Made sure if he didn't get it, no one else would. Great play. Good body work there. Let's have a look at this. Eddie Betts and Armitage. Well, he shoved into the crowd there. That should have been a free kick.
Yeah, Judd copped one as well.
And Betts just goes and remonstrates. Umpires just not reading that one properly. It should have been a free kick to Betts. Goddard kicks up the line. Free kick downfield.
Another player down.
So Milne gets the free kick.
Ironically.
That'll make the Blues fans feel even worse about it. You can hear the boos.
You're almost blaming Milne for this.
So Milne's too far to kick a goal, but he pumps it high and long, and they're going to get it here. The Saints now, it just drops a little bit short off hands. Here's a chance there for Geary. Over the top it goes. They got the goal in the end. Malira's got it. He's kicked his second.
That looked a little too easy in the end, Lynchy. There was no urgency deep in defence from the Blues.
No, definitely. And the kick actually went to a really dangerous spot. Carlton were lucky it didn't come out as a mark. See here, Goddard kicking to a really good, dangerous spot. Oh, that was the one beforehand. That was the free
down
kick.
the field free kick. Didn't look like there was a lot in it.
But
Milne's kick was a beauty, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great to a really dangerous spot. But the St Kilda forwards couldn't get there. But as you said, just really reactive play from the defence of the Carlton Footy Club, and an easy goal.
Heath Scotland was following the footy, looking to back up the contest, but then the odd bounce, it got hand passed straight back into his man.
So as you saw and you heard, Chris Yaron's afternoon and his season is over. And the ball up. Cruiser and McAvoy resume hostilities. Judd, he hasn't had a big influence yet. Can't break free. Curnow dumped. 20 players around this ball. Armitage squeezes it wide. It's a tumbler. Enticingly just inside the line. And Geary got the free in the back.
Yeah, well, Geary looks like he's got the job on Brock McLean at the moment, and he's certainly been quieter. He's had the 16 disposals, McLean, but Geary's done a pretty good job in this second term.
Goddard. Cripps. 7-point lead to the Saints. Blues led at quarter time. Again, the long pump, hoping for Miller. Gee, had to motor there. He made some fantastic ground.
He just ran past young Patrick McCarthy, as still a little bit spills over with White and Wilkes.
And Kingy, I'll get your thoughts in a minute on the matchup we thought about at the start of the game. It was just push and shove goes on, and that was Montagna on Murphy. Murphy's only had the 2 kicks.
Seeing plenty happening off the ball still.
There's that ball hold again. One hand high, one hand low, but if it works, it works. He's got 3. Saints have their biggest lead of the game.
It's a great finish. We were watching what was happening off the ball as well. The Walker-Milne battle continues. We see Bo Wilkes and White going at it. But what I loved about Bo Wilkes is he started getting into Andrew Walker. He started protecting the little bloke. That's what you like the big blokes to do around the situation. He started getting in between Walker and also Milne.
I thought there was a free kick off the ball there, but it's just players getting in
still
position.
Going at
still
it.
Plenty going on Walker and Wilkes.
It's a good.
And that's great stuff. That's great support to Stephen Milne. That's what you want from your teammates.
As long as it doesn't spill over and cost you a month at the start of next season.
We had that water bottle again. Andrew Walker. I wonder who's the target this time.
So back in the centre, we get hostilities underway again. They're starting to warm up. Del Santo in there, tries to burrow in under the pack. Has to get the ball moving or else he'll be in a bit of trouble here. The umpire has a look and bounces.
It's a good question you raise, Ed. Montagna is being dragged to the back pocket now by Murphy. He's just swapped with Dempster, I think it is, on the other side there. Might be Geary, but it's just to get himself back on ball, Montagna. But he's done the job on Murphy. Big win, big scalp at this stage.
Milne to the booze. Walker right with him. Walker had a couple to beat there. Cripps made it a 2-on-1. Pops one, hoping for Del Santo. Stanley knocked it to Del Santo. Stand start the delivery to Wilkes. Dives, marks.
Wasn't a great kick. It put him on a tighter angle. He didn't need to spear it in as low. He could have chipped it. And he's missed it on the boundary side. Or put it to the boundary side of where Wilkes was. So it's put him on a very tough angle when it should have been a regulation at, you know, a 15-metre kick at no more than a 45-degree angle.
This is getting dangerous for the Blues. First quarter emotions gone. This is for a 19-point lead. And for Wilkes, goal number 3. And he just misses to the near side. 18 minutes gone, second term, 51-37. And
Saints,
everybody takes a breath.
Saints have kicked 4 of the 5 goals of this game. They've kicked the last 3 and could have quite easily have had that last goal. Here we go. Out goes Judd. Takes them on. Runs into traffic as he always does. Fights hard. Look at that. That's great play by Judd. Just shrugged though. Good play by
Hurt his shoulder or hurt something.
Has he? Okay, well, let's keep an eye on it. Too slow going at it there, but Sipos is lucky. The ball bounced nicely for him. Kicks it out wide. Picked up by Dempster, the acting captain today for the Saints. He's got a player inside, decides to go long up the wing. It's a good kick. Graham's got the sit for the handball on the way through. Couldn't quite get it there. Picked up by Goddard over the line out of bounds.
Straight down to the rooms, Judd.
Judd down the race, and I don't know whether it was shoulder in the end. He certainly hurt something. May have been a hip, but he's gone down in the rooms with the club physio. So
back up on the bench there. No, down he goes. Let's have a look. We'll have a look at that in a moment because he did tackle, and it's one of those ones where the shoulder might have just got bent back a bit. We know he had surgery at the start of this year, the Carlton champion. As Walker finds McLean, who goes in the middle of the ground.
Good vision.
Bell has got it. Has been a good player today. Doing a great imitation of Anthony Koutafidis, even down to the locks. So Bell.
And the kicking style.
And the kicking style. Bombs it long. They're all looking to the sun. No one can see it down there. Look, I've been saying this for 10 years here.
Yeah.
Shut the roof, for goodness sake.
Well, you can shut the roof to get rid of, alleviate this issue, so you might as well. I think here's the tackle, and Judd goes to ground here. He takes Armitage, swings him around, and he grabbed his
hammy.
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 So it's a hamstring. So that is not good news. And
it's better news than a shoulder, though, I reckon.
Yeah, it is.
For him, anyway.
Yeah, it's not good for today.
No.
Not particularly, given they've already used their sub.
Long towards Malera. Gibbs. Malera. Gibbs beats him. Used his body well. Little hand up to Ellard, was to Curnow. Ellard, the man on as the sub for Yaron. Ellard toward half forward. Poor delivery. Dalsado cuts it off. Ledger tackled brilliantly by Cruiser. And now he might get a free, the big boy.
Holding the ball. You must make a genuine attempt.
Well, when you're being bear hugged by a bloke twice your size, what constitutes a genuine effort to get the ball out?
They had no prior opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
But he said, I want it. The umpire says you've got to make a genuine attempt to get rid of it. But how can you when you're in the clutches of a big bloke?
You've got to move your eyes as if you're really trying your hardest to get a delivery away. Arnfield. So Judd a hamstring. They've already used their sub, the Blues, and they're down by 14.
Great pickup.
Cruiser. Curnow.
Runner interference. St Kilda free kick.
Oh, just as the Blues were having a shot, and that could be 50. Runner interference.
50 metres.
And 50.
And 50.
So this might just be a goal taken from Carlton. It'll almost be a shot at goal for the Saints.
Yep.
Oh, that's really disappointing. And the Carlton runner's still going to finish off by delivering his message.
I'll tell you what's worse is there aren't a lot of Carlton players working hard to get back in defence.
If I was the runner, I'd stay out there as long as possible, too.
Yeah, just let the coach just cool down a little.
Might be his last game as well.
The stress not any less on Brett Ratten in his last game. So Judd, the hamstring, when I was talking about Jace before long term rather than in the context of this game, but still you don't want to see that to the champion.
Well, their chances of sending Brett Ratten off with a win are pretty sorely diminished now, aren't they? They've already lost Yaron and now Judd.
Both with hamstrings. Off the hands of the pack. Curnow gets the handball going.
Well, they're on here.
Garland.
Long kick.
Waite is waiting and does it well. Getting back hard though was Sipos, which is good play. Blocked him up because he was off there. No one behind him, so he has to wait for the cavalry to arrive.
They got big numbers back.
Gives it off to Robinson, who gives it back to Waite. They're running around in circles. They've actually conceded 20 metres now, so they're back on the half-back flank, and in the end they just have to chop one up in the air and it comes off.
Well, that was probably indicative of your comment before, Jace. Carlton just aren't working hard enough. Not running to offer options.
Ellard, who was the sub, chips inside. O'Keefe. Scotland. Wider still. The Saints have put up the wall well here so far. Now Walker runs the half forward. Beautiful kick.
That's
good lead.
kick.
That's the way.
That's a serious kick.
And Betts has got it and can line up from 40 metres.
When you're a forward leading hard, you don't want the ball sitting up in the air. You want a little bit of punch put on it, and that gives the backman that's chasing you no chance to close you down before the ball gets there.
Beautiful play by Walker. Set himself up. Left hand bounce. Plenty of time to look up and then hit the target. Now Betts comes out wide and drills this one. That was a good hit on the ball, and Eddie's happy. He's put it through.
He's very happy, and a good build-up in the end because Carlton had a number of players on the far side. I don't know whether that was quite about work rate or not, but certainly they had the players available. But a nice pass. It wasn't into the sun. It was out wide, so Betts could lead out into the pocket, and a very good kick from 40 metres out. And this is the pass. And this makes it really, pretty much as a full-back, impossible. You just can't do anything about that. And still, a little bit happening. Oh, Andrew Walker, just a bit of a hug on Wilkes's head.
Yeah, but one of those is going to connect. It's going to catch someone solid, which means they're going to get upset and come back with a bigger one, and it is going to be on.
Then it costs you a month, and you don't want that.
That's the last thing you want when you've got to then do a whole pre-season knowing you won't be playing at the start of next year.
McLean slips it up to Cruiser, tapped it and then was dragged. Umpire said it was okay, play on. McCarthy got the handball up. O'Keefe couldn't quite find a teammate. Curnow. Scotland to mop up that little mess. He's jumped on high, free kick.
And the danger, David King, I think you were making the point before the show that these little ones, they add up, and you might get a little reprimand, but the points add up, and then suddenly you do go for one and you get 4 weeks.
You got no idea in game, Ed. That's the problem. I remember the Stephen Baker game against Steve Johnson. At the end of the game was something like 12 weeks to 6, and we had no idea at the time that all these weeks were jumping on board.
So the Blues have played pretty positively in the last 5 minutes. Almost Wade took the mark. At ground level, he gets the handball off. Little chip over the top. Running at the ball is Dygan. He takes the mark. 65 out. Looks up. Crowded forward line. So they chip it around. They did this well before. Walker's kicking has been great. That no exception. O'Keefe from Kilburn. I like what you said before about Kilburn. Little Chicago in South Australia.
I don't know the Kilburnians were too happy with that, Dwayne.
Well, Dwayne...
Oh, they're proud of it.
Dwayne, you're from Paraka, aren't you?
No, my grandfather's on the wall in the Kilburn Football Club. I grew up in Kilburn.
What, his blood or his name?
When you work hard enough at the abattoirs, slaughtering over time, you work up enough money to move from Kilburn to Paraka.
So Paraka is the Turek of Kilburn, is it?
Sort of. It's just past Jepp's Cross. I'll take you down there one day for a drive, Ed.
So the honour board's actually done in blood, not gold embossed.
I think I'd prefer just to fly over it, Dwayne.
No board, just graffiti.
Cheerio to all those down the end of Brunswick Street. Hayes heads back. Simpkin all the way back to Gwilt. Inside 3 minutes, Sipos. So the Blues led by 4 points at quarter time. Right now it's the Saints by 8. And again, all the way back to Simpkin.
Well, they should be able to go now. Hit Hayes up.
And Hayes should get and go here. Curnow wants to shut him down. Hayes along the line nicely. Cripps. McAvoy calls for the long option. That's ignored. Now Malira might go up from 3 deep. Does, misses it. And Robinson crashes it out of play. 2 minutes left on the clock. 26 and a half gone. And it's been a very, very watchable game so far.
Now, the proponents of keeping the roof open say, oh, it's good for the spectators. If it's not, though, for about 1/4 of the crowd, they're looking into the sun, they're holding up the footy record over their eyes. Maybe good for record sales, but unless you've got a cap on today and the sunglasses, you can't see anything. And certainly we've seen on a number of occasions the forwards unable to mark. Look at this.
Well, the AFL bases a lot of its decisions on the spectacle of the game. And if the spectacle of the game is being impinged on by the sun, then you've got to change it, surely.
You'd think. Throw in. Have a look at Milne. He's having a word to the girls. Got a couple of new fans out there.
Secret love.
He's an entertainer, isn't he?
He is. As long as it doesn't spill over, it's all in a bit of theatre at the moment. Locked up again with 1:48 on the clock. St Kilda leading by 8 points. Have a look at that. Fantastic stuff. I think he said boo. Ball up. McAvoy gets the tap. Ball spills out. McLean has had a ton of it today. Little chip kick just misses the target. McCarthy not quite able to get there. Then he dived in. Should have got one for a high tackle there. The first one was over the shoulders.
He gets pinged for diving on it.
Yeah. Which is the bit we don't like about this rule, is we still like people going hard at the ball.
Yep.
Probably should have got the first free kick. So the Saints, I think, quite content to actually go in with this 8-point lead. They certainly don't want to drop one.
I think they look to set up for one more inside 50.
Comes out this side to Geary, who's been good. Now they've got a chance here if Geary can move quickly to Ray.
Best option if they get it inside.
They had Graham in the middle of the ground, but that option's gone now.
Now Geary's
got
opened
Stanley
up again,
long,
and that's where he's going. So with 50 seconds on the clock, off hands, they've got the numbers now. Sard, he likes a goal, he squeezes it to the pocket and he's missed. He was sort of caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. They didn't know whether to have a shot or centre it, and in the end did nothing, and he's kicked the point.
One of the players for the Saints that is going really quietly at the moment is Montagna. Just the 2 disposals for the game for a high-class player. That is a very slow start.
But Walker to Murphy.
Has been doing the job on Murphy, and Murphy at the moment
4 kicks.
It's just the 4 kicks.
Dygan free. Got a long time to get over this game, these two. Both teams, last game of the year, 50-minute penalty, 29 seconds left. This might work for the Blues. Scott Waters won't be happy. Another 50.
Montaigne's just undone his good work in the first half.
So it takes Nick Dyke into the top of the square.
James, step out. 1 more metre, James.
Should cut the margin to 3 points in the shadows of half-time. And more petrol on the spot fires in this last game of the season for the Blues and the Saints.
Yeah, you can see the expression there from Scotty Waters. He's not impressed.
So what's this? Yeah.
That was unlucky. The ball was thrown back into him.
Yeah.
So the first 50 was unlucky, but he's obviously complained too much. And then he's given him a little burst at the end, and there you go. Too much. That's another one. So a little bit stiff, but 2 wrongs never make a right.
But it makes for a great second half of
It
footy,
does.
though. That's
You're
what
right,
it
Ed.
does. It opens right up. And the coaches will be into their charges. Carlton now down to just the 20 men with 2 injuries, and the key one, of course, the hamstring of Chris Judd. Cruiser gets the tap. Gibbs gets his chance in the middle of the ground. Cruiser goes again. That was good play. 10 seconds ago. Can they pinch another one, the Blues? It comes out. Etihad was good to Gibbs. Playing, as I said, in the midfield now. It's where he's wanted to play for a long time, and that should just about do it for the first half. And what an entertaining game it's been here at Etihad Stadium. Carlton, there is their champion, Chris Judd, as sore as you like, the ice on his right hamstring.
Same as Chris Yarran is on the left.
And Chris Yarran limps in, so the Blues with 2 of their champions out of the game for the second half. Let's go down to David Kingies with Nick Del Santo.
How are you feeling about things in the first half, Nick?
Yeah, it's competitive. We knew they want to come out and have a crack, and I feel like we're doing the same. It's been a good game so far. Could go either way.
They're down a couple of soldiers in Judd and Yarran with hamstring injuries. How do you think you can capitalise on that?
We just need to keep running, mate. Our game's pretty basic. We try and work hard to move the ball quick and see what happens from there. So they're a couple down. We need to take advantage of it.
Discipline a problem?
I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's not ideal. Obviously, they got that last goal to there, but that's right. We've got another half to go, and we'll keep fighting.
Good luck, mate.
All right, thanks, mate.
Thanks, Kingy. Good stuff, and thank you to Nick Del Santo for sparing some time at half-time. The Saints run off, having trailed by 4 points at quarter-time. They lead by 3 at half-time. Carlton down to 20. This is the fighting position that they can really show their fans that they are fair dinkum in playing for the final time for their coach, Brett Ratten. Undermanned, their superstar captain is out. We love you, Rats. Well, we'll find out if the Carlton players do, if they can fight out this second half when we return on Fox Footy. St Kilda and Carlton. It's the Saints by 3 points. Talk that he'll end up at Richmond, and he's coming back to Melbourne. So lots of stories coming out of this weekend's round of football, but we've got one unfolding in front of us now as St Kilda lead by 3 points against Carlton.
Yeah, might be a big story or two coming out of this. Of course, the big story of the second half is that this is the last half of football as coach of the Carlton Football Club for Brett Ratten, one of their all-time greats, and they want to send him off in style. Milne gives it to Saad, though. Del Santo tried to quick roll it inside 50. Just buffeted out of it. Gibbs, legally according to the umpire. Graham, he's already kicked one from about here. In fact, the last one was further out, and he gets plenty on that as well. Every milligram. He's got 2.
Well, they never look the sweetest kicks off the boot, Jason Graham, but they just travel. That looked like he ballooned it a bit, but he's got such a powerful leg. There was some good grunt work done inside, and ultimately Lenny Hayes just gets that sneaky little hand pass through traffic, and he half sort of caught it a little on the outside of the boot. It went very high, but it just continued to travel. He kicks another one. The perfect start for the Saints. A lot to look forward to. They've got to try and exploit the Blues. They're down by 2. Judd and Yarran off with hamstring. So, and now we're going to see a free kick, and it's paid to Carlton against Bo Wilkes.
Bo Wilkes has been having a go for most of the game, and he's just cost himself a free kick against here. Here's the one.
Oh, you don't pay a free kick for that.
Not a lot in that one.
Oh, if that's the free kick.
That's the free kick.
Well, then we've got issues with this game.
Because they missed the 45 that have happened in the game that have been exactly the same as that.
A lot worse. A lot worse than that. Oh, come on. That's over umpiring. Or at the very least, it's a lot of under umpiring from what's gone on prior to this. So be consistent, guys. That's all you want.
Okay. So Goddard's got it. Oh, half volley. That just one gets you absolutely smashed. McAvoy did well to get it back. Goddard's been out of sorts today, hasn't he?
Yep.
Garlett's kick is a beauty, right to the spot, coming over the top. Great play there by the Saints by Simpkin. Saves the day and rushes the behind. The Goddard just looks like he's that ill with the world, doesn't he, out there today?
And
Here we go. Another big torp from Jason Graham.
He's kicked a long one up to the middle of the ground. Getting in the end there was Wilkes, who's certainly letting the Carlton blokes know he's around at the moment. McLean. Farron Ray. Little handball. Simpkin again over the top of it. It spills out wide. Almost a handoff there. Carlton player under enormous pressure was Simpson. Curnow gets a little kick. It ricochets off McAvoy. And the kick in the end from Robinson's out on the full, under pressure.
Seen a couple of great bombs from Jason Graham in kick-outs. Big torpedoes. That should nearly have been a free kick.
Well, if the other one was, I reckon that one was.
The only problem is that time St Kilda weren't set up for it.
No. Scrappy start to this third term.
Quick hack inside 50, though, over the head of Eddie Betts, and Dempster takes the mark. 50 plays 58. Little fake. It's Eddie in the air. Goddard up from behind. Again, can't mark it. Got hands on it. Didn't bring it down. Tackled away by Del Santo. Ellard got it up to Gibbs. That's Robinson. Could have had the shot from there. He dances his way inside 50. Delightful.
Yeah, nice finish there. As we said, it's been pretty scrappy, but on that occasion, Mitch Robinson just had a little bit of class to get around one opponent, then enough time to straighten up onto the right foot. And this is where, again, just didn't have enough pressure around the ball carrier, the Saints. And Mitch Robinson's all by himself there, just too much latitude. And that's a really nice finish from 35 metres out. And just to keep the Blues in the game. I mean, it's going to be tough for the remainder of the game, being down the two extra players and two of their best. But nice finish from Robinson.
Having said that, since those two players have been out of play, the Blues have kicked 3 of the 4 goals that have been kicked. And it's a 2-point ball game. 8-8, 56 to 9-4, 58. Here we go. Murphy's in there, and he has been absolutely blanketed by Montagna today. Graham runs into Eddie Betts. Now they're going in. It's nice and willing in there. Free kick's been picked out against McLean, I think, for too high. Now it comes out to Graham. Simpkins kick up towards half forwards. Out comes Stanley. It's punched away from him. Robinson tries to crash through. He runs into a brick wall. Dempster tries to go through as well. Simpson throws him to the boundary line. Throw in, says the umpire.
So that's the self-falcon. No good.
Bryce Gibbs. Cruiser in there, fighting hard. McAvoy wrestles way, trying to get his hands clear to get a ball out. And he might be in a bit of trouble here. The umpire's looking to give it. No, he's got it in the back of him.
It looked,
lying in his back. It must be a legal tackle.
for all intents and purposes, it was going to go the other way and be holding the ball. And then they said you're lying on his back.
So McAvoy on centre wing. Graham just chips it and he's turned it over. Well, there was no thought pattern in that one. Bell's taken the mark for Carlton at half back. Long up the wing to half forward. Good mark, almost taken. Yes, it is. Well played by the first gamer in Mitchell. Mitchell now just sets it up.
Oh, they're out far wide.
Here they go. Ellard.
And guess who?
Brock McLean from 30 metres out. Hits the post.
Can he find some space? Brock McLean.
That's his second poster for the day.
And he's had 21 possessions, 6 more than anyone else on the ground.
And he was 50 metres clear.
For a long time.
1 point game. Wilt to himself. The sunshine out of sight. Read that well, Wilkes. Hands it off. Hayes. Not a lot to go too long. Goddard short. O'Keefe got in there, made a contest, knocked it away. Gibbs straight down the middle, looks at the big sticks. He might go for them himself. Short pass, Eddie Betts, and the Blues could take the lead.
I think you read it well, Dwayne. He was sizing up the sticks and he was going to unload, but there was a little bit of pressure coming from his left, which forced him to just divert a little bit to the right of his target. And that's when he saw Eddie Betts in space and thought, well, the easy chip, I've got to do that. He was lining him up, and then you just see he has to go left to get away from McAvoy, go behind an opponent, and that allows Eddie Betts to come into his vision.
Already has one. Pushes that across the face.
Got under that one as well. Just not a good kick at all, but a lot of pressure being put on from the Blues on the defence of the Saints at the moment. Plenty of inside 50s at the start of this third turn. They've just got to convert more on the scoreboard just to really put the Saints under the hammer.
I've liked Bryce Gibbs's 20 minutes of football since Judd was forced from the field. He's gone in the midfield and done well, and that's a good mark taken by O'Keefe.
Saints have made their sub as well, Ed. Nunes into the game, and Ledger has been subbed out.
OK, thanks, Kingy. Hayes breaks through traffic. Looks up, kicks to Milne, and Walker. The private war continues down there. Picked up by Robertson's. Little chip kick inside is a good one to Cruiser, who marks right on the 50. Decides to go long, puts it up in the air. One for the high flyers. Wait from behind, but good play by McAvoy.
Yeah, it wasn't a great kick from Cruz. It was an afterthought. He was looking for options. In the end, he just said, I'll chip it long, but kicked it straight to the opposition ruckman.
Farron Ray takes the mark at centre-half back again, looking into the sun. Del Santo chips the ball out wide. Cripps. Called to play on now, so a little chip kick.
Very little movement forward of the ball. Stanley end up going.
Yep, so a little further chip kick. So the ball's been in this patch of grass over here for about 35 seconds. Now we go inside 50 with a long kick. Cruiser gets back, couldn't quite hold it. The fall of the ball. Simpson gets it from Scotland, and Carlton can relieve.
Terrible kick though. Doesn't relieve pressure for long. Quilt to Ray. He wants to go goal square. Thought about it. Short instead. Millerer. Leads come short. Goddard, one of them, honours it. So scores level. Goddard can give the Saints back the lead. Story so far, Carlton led by 4 points at quarter time. Saints by 3 at half time. And that is perfection to McAvoy. And he will give the Saints the lead. It's just a matter of whether it's a one-goal lead or a lead by behind. The other story of this game is Saints' biggest lead today has been 14 points. That was in the second term, and early in the first term the Blues had a 15-point lead, but it's been played within those margins for the whole afternoon. Good battle between McAvoy and Cruiser. Two top 10 picks in that 2007 draft. And you've got to say Ben McAvoy takes the upper hand. Saints by a goal.
Well, it might have been perfection, the kick from Goddard to McAvoy. There was nothing perfect about the defence, though. We saw shots of Brett Ratten in the Carlton coach's box. Look at the loose Carlton players standing around. You can see Armfield, you can see O'Keefe, you can see Robertson, but none of them went anywhere near Ben McAvoy. It's not like he can sneak into a space.
That's right.
He's 6'10". He's a monster. He just wanders into the corridor and gets an uncontested mark. Kicks the set shot from 40 out directly in front.
And quite understandably, Cruiser was heading back to the goal line where he needs to go, but just no one to pick up his man. There's the time in forward half, and certainly that's a fair reflection of the dominance so far in this quarter, 65% to the Blues.
Except the goals are getting kicked at the other end.
Yeah, 2-1 St Kilda's way. And the next 10 minutes are going to be very interesting in this game. Up into the sun. Good luck. Milne got to the front spot. Just waited for it. The bouncing ball beats everybody. Finally is picked up by Armfield. Around the body goes Walker. Free kick. Malera's got it.
Ducked. Well, no doubt he caught him high, but it did look like he ducked.
So Malera's got a little chip kick to the pocket. And Montaigne, who has been a tagger today, takes the mark. And we'll have to kick it from about 45 on the boundary line.
You're on it, Lee. No box. Arms are up.
So Lee Montaigne has been given a number of different roles this year by Scott Waters. Coach pretty happy with his play. Comes in, gave away a 100-metre penalty earlier today, which is a blemish on his copybook, as was that kick at goal.
But still, just without all the disposals in their favour, they are getting on the scoreboard. Carlton really need to get to the other end of the ground and impact the scoreboard to reflect their disposal dominance.
Montaigne's battle with Murphy. Murphy 4 kicks, 5 handballs, so he has been absolutely restricted by a wonderful tagging role by Lee Montaigne today.
This guy's had a sensational year, Sean Dempster. He's leading the club today, but he's just marked there over a couple of ruckmen in McAvoy and Cruiser. He's got his confidence up. He plays tall, he plays small, super consistent.
Montaigne wants to use the corridor. Del Santo. Saints by 7. Back to Montaigne. Hayes. Stanley. Again Graham wants to go from outside 50. Kick smothered. Duggan got there. Knocked it out of play.
Now we're just looking at this end, and we notice that the ball sometimes goes into the forward 50 right of screen, and how players don't see it. Now this ball's gone long and very high. Now you've got half a dozen AFL players here, and the ball hits the ground. What's that tell you? They can't see it.
6 blokes misjudged it.
Yeah, that's right.
Mad scramble half back. Mitchell couldn't make something of it. Comes out to Ray though. Geary. Just run down by Garlick. Got a kick. Full forward. Malera down there. Bumped on the jump by Curnow. And bumped legally. Curnow getting a reprieve after not being in the team. One of the late inclusions. 2 late changes for the Blues. Curnow and Ellard in. Tui and Carazzo both out.
So throwing in the forward pocket. Oh, beautiful tap from Big Stanley there. Ellard did well for Carlton. Got the kick away. Just past Waite's outstretched hands. Wilt has been sensational today. Geary over the ball, bouncing, bouncing, bouncing. Now the kick goes in from Armitage. Up the fall of the ball, Milne lurking with intent, but it was a good boot off the ground by Armfield. Chance now for Scotland. He looks up, not a whole lot on. Now he looks across, gets the handball going to Ellard.
Hold the man! Your free kick 50 metres held on to after disposal.
So that's the rule, where if you hold a player that's given the ball away and stop him from continuing to be a part of the play, it's a 50-metre penalty.
So Heath Scotland will take it with the 50 metres. He basically gets it where the ball ended up anyway. And looks up, no one really on. He's got Simpson lateral to him, but he decides to kick forward, puts it up in the air, try and mark that one.
It wasn't a great kick.
No chance of a mark there, but good fight on there from McCarthy. The ball goes over the line and they lock it in the forward 50.
Here's the free kick here, just holding.
So Ellard thrown to the ground.
Taking the ground.
I don't know that Ellard was trying to continue to be a part of the play, though.
Slight lack of discipline, though, when you do that. You know you've got the chance of giving the free away. Mitchell high, top of the square. Sipos, free kick.
Oh, this is going to hurt.
It's going to be Waite's ball.
He was nowhere near the play. They had 4 on 1, St Kilda. Sipos took the mark. And the free kick's been paid against James Gwilt.
We know with Gwilt, his intention needs to be just put a bit of a block in, but you've got to be discreet about how you do this.
Oh, dear me.
There might be a warning there. There might be a warning or a fine.
That is just playing it up big time by Jared Waite, and he got the free kick.
Some synchronicity today for Jared Waite. It's Father's Day, and today he passes his dad Vin's number of games with the Blues. His dad played 153. This is game 154 for him. He squeezes it in. That's his 3rd.
Yeah, that's a really tough one, and Brett Ratten will be pretty happy with the end result. But on Gwilt, he just goes to put a block on, but there is not that much of a hold. There is no hold, really. It was started with a block, and that's a very bad free kick for against the Saints. And it cost them on the scoreboard. The Blues have really struggled to get on the scoreboard with the amount of ball they've had in this term, but that one was a gift.
A lot of pressure on the umpires as well. I mean, we scrutinise every decision that's paid, and we've got a group of umpires all competing for spots in the finals. We saw Chris Judd there on the bench alongside Chris Yarran with hamstring injuries in the first half. But all these umpires are looking to get on the big stage in September as well.
Well, it's interesting, though, isn't it, boys, that when we get to September, we always laud the umpiring crew that let the game go on. And don't pick out the little tiggy touch good ones, but I suppose they're a bit technical. And as you say, people are human. They want to be into the finals as well, so they're trying to do everything right today, the umpies. Simpson over the top. Dygan's kick has been marked by Garland. Little kick inside now. A chance for Bryce Gibbs. He's had a good half hour of football, Bryce Gibbs, and unfortunately couldn't put it through, which would have put Carlton in front. As it is, scores are level with 8 minutes to go in the third term.
Just an average kick by Gibbs off one step, but it was an ordinary kick by Garland. If Garland hits the target, he can go back and have a set shot. He doesn't have to kick it off one step.
Good to Goddard to Graham. Straight down the middle to Hayes on the run. Ray didn't really give him any protection there. He should have shepherded and allowed him to run. He wanted the handball and it's cost him. Surely the shepherd was on. Not the I want it, give it to me.
Yeah, they should have worked it out better between Farron Ray and Lenny Hayes.
Here it is again. He just ran on from the ball in. Del Santo breaks free. Lenny Hayes pumps it inside 50. Dygan down there in a one-on-one. Read it beautifully. Hands off to Walker. To the open side they peel. So they're down a couple. No Yarran, no Judd maybe for this second half. Yarran subbed out. Judd with a hamstring. Heads toward half forward. Simpkins really grown as a player.
Yeah, he got an early nudge in. Did well.
Young still eligible for an ab rising star. Heads it to Sipos. And they want to peel to the open side. Dempster held up though.
It's interesting, Ed Curnow did a great job on Nick Del Santo in the first half. He's gone into defence to pick up Terry Malera.
Goddard takes a mark. He's sort of picked up his biorhythms, if you like, and this quarter has been good until then. Eddie Betts almost intercept. Goddard slaps it forward, does it well, recovers, cleans up his own mess, gets it out to Farron Ray. Little handball going to Armitage. Up the line they go again. The Saints in position A, and he's got it. No, said the umpire. Rooks almost took the mark. Saints fans are screaming. I reckon it was play on as well. Good umpiring decision.
Terry
the ball
Malera
goes over the line out of bounds.
Terry Malera was screaming as well. He'd come off the interchange bench and just sitting in the goal square as this one was being juggled. And did not have control, so that's a good call, but a goal went begging from Malera.
Bell to Simpson. Little handball across to Murphy. He's been quiet. Beautiful handball though. Opens it up. Armitage's kick. Armfield's kick inside 50. Punched away.
So they haven't given young McCarthy any sort of favours there, or Luke Mitchell was on that occasion. Their forward 50 entries have gone to a contest, but they just haven't favoured the forwards.
Jack Nunez, who was the sub, who's on the field, has a sit on the pine for a minute. Playing in the midfield. Murphy grabbed by Stephen. Nice elbow to the head there.
It might spill over here.
Yep.
Bit happening.
Ellard got right in there, jumping all over Goddard there. Ellard and then Murphy. Anyway, the ball spills out. Curnow's kick inside 50. Again, very good play there by Simpkin, who just took his man under the ball, made sure he wasn't going to mark it. And Ray at the back mops up. Simpson. Bad bounce. Sard. Dygan just threw it across. The kick comes in from Garland, and it's offline and through for a behind.
But again, Jace, that pass inside 50 to the forward, and it was Mitchell on that occasion. Here's the scrimmage and a little bit of a head massage.
Just an ear rub.
for Goddard. But the kicks aren't going to advantage. Really cooking the ball going inside 50. Blues.
Dropped out by Cruiser. So a 1-point game. Final game of the season for both teams. The unofficial playoff for ninth.
Blues in front for the first time since the 9.5-minute mark of the second term.
Back into play. McAvoy and Cruiser both missed it. Murphy. Gang tackle. Dragged down. And we'll get another ball up.
Thanks, boys.
Good crowd in for this. Brett Ratten's farewell game. Free kick's been found. Ellard's ball. So it's against Montagna. A couple of undisciplined passages of play from Montagna. Murphy plays onto his advantage. That's working too much.
Just wondering whether to put Ellard on to Montagna here to try and get Murphy free. He's had a few touches in the last couple of minutes.
I think, it's interesting. At that last stoppage, Ellard actually went to Lenny Hayes, but They've chopped and changed that many times with the midfield matchups. It's hard to keep a track of.
So Dempster, who's been fantastic, the acting captain today for the St Kilda Football Club. Saints just chip up the wing. Graham, and we know he's got a booming kick. He's got a few on too, and he goes up the line again. He's been marked there by Del Santo. Del Santo over the top to Stephen. Stephen now on the paint, just inside 50. No, 15 was it? Yes, said the umpire. And Stanley has got it. Big Reece Stanley, who many people feel is the future of St Kilda. Got big raps on him. And he's going to have a shot from the boundary line here to at least get within a point. The Saints trailing by 2 here.
He's another exciting player along with Sipos. A couple of very good athletes in this side.
So Stanley, not a bad approach. Puts it across the front of the goals, though, and through for a behind. So it's a point the difference.
Some boos, more boos. Walker entrusted with the kick in. It's been that kind of game. There's been some nasty in it, which has made it a little better. Simon White, who was coached by Scott Waters at Subiaco, so coaching against him today, knows him well.
It's a fair hit.
To the outer side. Robinson tried to keep it alive, almost to his detriment. He tried to handle that maybe to a Saints shin, hoping for an out on the full. 67-66, ball in. 23 gone, third term. Wilkes does some ruck work. Hayes. Ray, bang, crunched. Robinson comes up with it. Wants a pass target. Not a lot to go too long. Puts it in front of Curnow. Stephen. Curnow manhandled him beautifully. Had enough of him, but not too much. And that's a 1-on-2 win for Curnow. Brilliant play by the Blue, given a late reprieve.
Well done.
Gee, he was set a task by Mitch Robinson with the kick, wasn't he? Just didn't like any of the options going forward, so he went for the lateral ball. See Bo Wilkes' head getting smashed in the middle of all that contest. Good tackle, kept his feet, took possession, and then just drew the tackle in.
Ball flicks out the side, just a little bit behind Murphy, who was full tilt towards the goals had it been maybe 1 metre in front of him.
Still got strapping on the shoulder that Lee Montagna bumped a year ago. Still with some shoulder problems. They've got some good history. This St Kilda Carlton battle might go all the way to the line.
A lot of animosity between these two clubs in the John Elliott reign as well.
Yes. When
John used to get into St Kilda, so that was where they sent their blue beggars to die. The elephant graveyard, he thought it was, down there at Moorabbin. Handball comes out. Cruiser's kick up towards the goal square. White has got it. That's a great mark. Free kick. Doesn't matter. He's got it. And we might have another hamstring here, have we?
Well, I think Mitch Robinson.
Heavily. He flew courageously for the mark, went back with the flight of it.
He's been cleaned up. Anyway, it's Waite.
Come down very heavy. Great mark from Jared Waite.
Yep.
Here's Mitch Robinson. Just jumps through the contest. The legs come out from under him and
flat on the back.
Probably lost a bit of wind out the lungs, I would have thought.
Yeah, right on the coccyx there. So Waite, who, as Dwayne Russell said earlier, goes past the games of his famous father, Vin Waite, Carlton premiership player, the late Vin Waite. And Jared Waite on Father's Day kicks his fourth and gives the Blues the opportunity now to send their coach off in a bit of glory.
Yeah, well, they've been able to hit the front, but certainly inside 50s are well and truly in front. I mean, there's 6 up on the Saints, but unfortunately just not enough efficiency and not enough quality contested grabs like that. That is a really good mark. His last one was a gift free kick. That one was a genuine contested mark. Well, Brett Ratten's a little frustrated. He thought it might have been a free kick before the mark.
He's tried to hold off from barracking in the coach's box for the majority of this year, but he's got to allow himself a freer rein today.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier to laugh when you've marked it after the free kick's been ignored, as opposed to the ball being punched over the boundary line.
Jared Waite, of course, still a couple of premierships behind his dad. He might be ahead in games. Little shovel out. Betts rolls it towards half forward. Geary. So now the Saints under some pressure. Can they respond? In the shadows of three-quarter time. Walker, Milne, they resume hostilities. Walker deliberately takes it to the line. Milne asks the question.
Tell you what, he's kept Stephen Milne to just the 6 possessions. 3 kicks, 3 hand passes and no goals. That's an outstanding job.
Cruiser knocks it down. Montagna feeds it inboard, hoping for Armitage. Kind bounce. Ray dragged down. Good tackle. No Pryor. And now he's making an attempt. Got to be a ball up.
I'll tell you what he did do, Kate Simpson. That was 2 consecutive tackles. He was the one that did the initial tackle and then rolled over. Second time, after tackling Armitage, he then went straight to Ray. That's a great effort.
Congested situation again. McLean's been in hard and also been able to find a lot of space as well today. So Brock McLean enjoying a pretty good afternoon.
He has.
He's at 24. James Gwilt with 20, the most for the Saints.
Off the bottom of the pack, had a big first quarter. Brock McLean with 13.
Just hear the roar there, Ed, as Brett Ratten makes his way down through the crowd for the final time here. And getting a great reception from his beloved fans.
Well, his team is starting to lift for him. They lead by 7 points. They desperately get one here in the last minute of play in this third term. Up it goes at the back, almost fell to weight. Ellard hard at it. He's grabbed without the ball. Should have got a free kick. Players lying left, right and centre, stretching very tired muscles in this last game. As Brett Ratten comes in to have a look and see what he's got. He's had to coach this last 30 or 40 minutes of play without 2 of his players, including Chris Judd, who did his hamstring. Off hands, Bell crashes through, might get a lucky bounce. Eddie Betts, was it smothered? I think it was. Touch, says the umpire.
Now, the Saints player's gone down there. There was a little bit of happening between Montagna and Murphy.
Okay, you want to check? You sure, Denner? Did you get a look at whose boot it came off?
No, I believe it was touched.
Okay. Jacob. Did you get a look?
I think it was me.
Yeah, okay. Score review, please. We think that it's come off a St Kilda boot. Please confirm.
Okay, we want to see what the ricochet is. We know it's hit somebody. Who did it hit? So here's the play. Yeah, St Kilda. So if it's hit a boot, it is a St Kilda boot and it's a point.
Yeah. Eddie Betts flushes it here, and it's a bit hard to tell, but
looks like it came off Dempster. The inside of Dempster's foot, I think.
Yeah.
The initial call from the goal umpire was a behind. He just wanted to make 100% sure.
Comes off the back of his calf.
Yeah, there was no doubt there was 2 sounds there, and
you can see the change of direction of the ball.
And in that time while they're reviewing it, Tom Simpkin got himself up off the ground. But,
he's going to jog to the bench though. Now.
He's very sore.
All clear.
I don't mind that. The goal umpire was 99.9% sure.
Yep.
It was a behind, but he wanted to make sure because he had the opportunity to look at a replay. McAvoy and Cruiser both go at it. Dying seconds. Third term. Simpkin. Buffed to the ground again.
It's on here. Simpkin and
Robinson.
Then she's on.
Play. This could be a free kick and a shot. Could be a shot at goal coming. Dygan's about to put it inside 50 again to the trouble spot. And the first gamer, Luke Mitchell. Could be lucky, Luke, here on the siren.
Still going.
Oh, the runner came out to tell him because he had...
Blues player's been trodden on. He's been trodden on here, Walker.
That's Walker.
Well, Walker and Milne have had their private war since before the first bounce. They joined in the action here, and this has turned ugly. And now it's even worse. It's exacerbated by the fact that the siren's gone.
Well,
a couple of remonstrating with Armitage.
This was always going to happen.
Yeah, amongst all this, there's a shot at goal for Carlton.
So Mitchell to take the shot. Carlton lead by 8. He can extend that to 14. He doesn't. He scrapes it in for a behind, and luckily for the AFL,
it's not done yet.
Look at
and
Milne
for these 2 teams, the teams have been separated, but Milne
keeps
still
going
have
back
a few
to
words
Walker.
to say.
He keeps going back to Walker, but Walker wanted to remonstrate with someone else. There it is.
Oh, it's still going.
Straight to Montagna.
So they've got to get out of there now. Montagna and Del Santo should have wiser heads than to go through the huddles. And they've got to separate it. The umpires have done a great job here. They've done a fantastic job.
Well,
some tinderbox about to explode there, Dwayne.
Well, he's the one that spilled over Robinson and Simpkin, and it's just started to really fire up. Simpkin had gone down about 30 seconds before that score review, and there's plenty happening there. Walker is the one that goes to the ground here from Montagna.
Montagna comes in and just poleaxes him with a bump. That's why he remonstrated with Montagna before the clubs went to their three-quarter time camps.
All right, we'll take a break. We're coming back. Brett Ratten's last quarter of football is going to be a beauty. He's down 2 men, and they're fired up as much as you'd like to see in any finals match. It's going to be a big 30 minutes when we return. Carlton leading St Kilda in Bratton's last game. We'll play Brett Ratten in a moment. We just had him with David King. We'll record that and play it in the first break we can get as we're underway in this final term. Carlton playing for Brett Ratten for the last time.
Murphy and Simpson combined to take off with the opening delivery inside 50. It's a little wider than they'd like, and it's out of play. So Brett Ratten downstairs with David King.
What was the message at three-quarter time? Oh, just about the Carlton Footy Club will play the St Kilda Footy Club next year, and I suppose we could leave a bitter taste in their mouth, or they could do it to us. So, as I spoke about before the game, we were embarrassed last week, and you can have 8 days of embarrassment, or you can have 6 months, and we get a chance to maybe erase some of that.
Don't worry about all that, mate. Last quarter. Good luck.
Thanks, bud.
In the meantime, there's been a free kick off the ball. Guess who's in it again? It's Walker and Milne getting into it, and Milne gets the free kick. There you go. So,
and while that was happening, Aaron Sipos has limped off the ground, so injury concerns for St Kilda.
So a 100-metre penalty against the Blues there. Milne long to full forward. Goddard flies. Can't bring it down. There's some spice in this, as there has been from the outset. A lot on this, and yet there's nothing on it. Can you believe that? Ellard out of side. When you're playing for pride, maybe you're playing for more than 4 points. He pokes it to McLean, who's been good from the outset.
Looks like young
O'Keefe.
Yeah, he's gone down with, looks like,
so looks his knee.
Hopefully it's only cramp, but it might be a knee.
So Yaron's gone. Judd's done for the afternoon, we believe. And now another player down for the Blues, Rhys O'Keefe.
Looks a lot more serious than a cramp. Doesn't always up, though.
Well, there's a spasm in the calf, so it might be cramp. It goes down here. A bit hard to tell from there, but he's jogging from the ground, so fingers crossed for a cramp in the right calf.
Let's hope so. So, forward pocket for the Blues. Touch play on. Geary's got it. He kicks around the body, just tries to hack it out. Has got some runners out here. Simpson gets there first. Ducks underneath it, does well. Kicks inside 50. Saints have got the numbers. Wilt just throws it to himself, looking for that boundary line, and finds it. We'll have a throw in the right forward pocket for the Carlton side. They lead 75-66 by 9 points. So throw in. McAvoy and Cruz have had a great battle all day. Gibbs tries to get the kick. Geary under the pack, flicks it up. Gibbs again. McLean, Simpson bombs it long up towards the goal square. Bit of holding going on. Umpire lets it go off hands. St Kilda just hope for the best. It's coming back. The Scotland almost takes the mark. Plenty of time to recover. Heath Scotland just flicks it over the top. Did it well. Walker ran over the top. He got a bad bounce on that occasion. In goes big Stanley there. They hold it up and will get a bounce. 55 out from the Carlton goal.
Don't see that too often from Heath Scotland. Normally when he's got control of the footy, he's a good decision maker, but he ran himself back into trouble, and then a little bit of a panicked hand pass over the back of the head.
Slapped down to Montagna. Tries the quick kick. Doesn't quite work for him. Curnow put his body on the line. Over it. Stolen from him, though, by Armitage to McAvoy. Gets under that. And McLean stands his ground.
Possession number 30 coming up.
Walker. Past Betts and heads to Waite. Had hands on it. Betts almost crumbs it. Scarlett jumps in.
That kick from Walker on the left foot was brilliant.
Gwilt comes out with it, though. McAvoy makes it somebody else's problem. Wilkes out of side, had the reach. Good pluck. Blues by 8. Late that 9.
Inexperience from Simon White there. Just need to come from the back instead of taking the front position.
Montagna just chips over the top to Hayes, the old firm for St Kilda. Into the forward pocket's a good-looking kick, and there's the third man in the chain, Brendon Goddard. He'll kick from just inside 50. Saints need this one.
Yeah, Tom Bell's picking up Brendon Goddard, and Goddard's playing deep forward.
Blues have kicked the last 3 of 4 goals kicked in that third term. So they'll get up to a flyer here. Brendon Goddard from just inside 50 comes in. He starts it right, was never coming back. And it's a point to the Saints.
just half hit that one.
Yep.
Just didn't really kick through the ball and left it out to the right, as you said, Ed. But good start to get the ball inside 50.
Good news down here for Reece O'Keefe. He's been for a trot. It looks like it was some sort of cramp in the lower calf. He'll be back on the ground shortly.
And that is a relief for the young man. Only playing game 2 for the season, game 3 in his short career.
Murphy told to go. He's got Simpson short. Needs to be a good pass. It is.
Got Digan running hard. Nearly killed him.
It sits on him. Flick down, good from Graham. Digan battles on. Graham flicks it down. He knows he's got the cavalry that's arrived. Cripps can't break free. Tie up. A ball up. And the crowd here have got their money's worth from the outset. And in some respects, we're no closer to knowing who the victor might be 5 minutes into the final term.
So Robinson just hacks it forward. Del Santo does much the same. Half volleys just being missed. Cripps goes in hard. Stephen there. Malera, good play. Nice little play there over the top. Saad gets it across to Stephen. Open goal for the Saints, and Stephen puts it through. What a game we've got on our hands here at Etihad Stadium. Stephen gets his first for the afternoon. St Kilda get the first of the final term and end a run of 2 consecutive goals at the last part of the third quarter to Jared Waite. And boy, have we got a game with feeling now and scoreboard pressure as well.
Yeah, really good build-up. Quick hands. They're under a bit of pressure, but Jack Stevens had 13 disposals today. Just dragged that one off the right post beautifully through for a goal, just to put that little bit of pressure on now the Blues that, as you said, Ed, have been very good with those goals in the lead-up to the return goal from the Saints. First one for this term.
13 possession afternoon for Jack Stephen. 2 points the margin. The ball up. Cruiser. It's his own clearance of sorts. It's to the wing though. Murphy gets there first. Takes on Del Santo. Bouncing ball to half forward. Works okay for Ellard. And that works beautifully for Garland. 50 from goal.
Got Cruiser on.
And Cruiser, it's sat on him. He's still good enough to mark it. He held it long enough. Or had the arm chop. Take your pick.
Yeah. It wasn't a great kick from Garland again.
Thinking Cruiser was passing it off.
It needed to be kicked goal side of Cruiser, but he kicked it on the defensive side of him, and that allowed the St Kilda player to come in and put pressure on. I think it was Montagna, but he just pulled the arm.
And this becomes a massive kick. The finish line of this one's getting closer by the second. 5th season for Matthew Cruiser. This was the year he was expected to make his mark. They can make a late mark here, but he sprays it and he doesn't have the distance. Huge leap, almost. Not quite. Mitchell brought it down. Tackle low by Curnow. Ball up. Forward pocket.
They've got to make the most of these shots at goal because they're heavily down on rotations with Judd and Yaron off the field, and I reckon he had control of that for mine. So unlucky there, the Blues.
So the full forward union working well here today.
No, I wouldn't have paid the mark, but it was close.
It was close, very close. All right, here's Hayes. He's under a bit of battle there. Brock McLean goes through, tries to squeeze it. Can't quite get enough hook on the ball, and it's through for a point. His 3rd for the afternoon. In fact, he hit the post twice, Brock McLean.
It's just got to make the most of it because they will tire towards the end of the second half of this last term. They're going to run out of legs, the Blues.
So McLean's 3 behind's the difference in this game at the moment. 76 plays 73. Brett Ratten's last game, his family in a corporate box provided by Carlton today, and a nice gesture from Stephen Kernahan. There's the coach's box. His boys in the back of the coach's box. Great stuff. Hope they're enjoying it and have something to remember. And that's something to remember for Carlton fans, because Dempster's been fantastic today, but he's given that one up. Jared Waite will take the free kick. Simpson wanted it. He'd squared it up to McLean, but it's going to come back.
He's going to think his way through it. There's no short pass on. He's either got the banana kick or the left foot kick around the corner.
What would you go for here, Jace?
Well, I never used to kick bananas. I'd always try and kick it around the body on the left foot, but...
So Waite.
I think he's going to go the banana.
Who's kicked 4 for the day.
That's not a bad effort.
Oh, nice.
Make that 5. And that is the banana split. Right through the middle.
Beautiful banana, just dropped that one straight through the middle of the goals. That's the option I would have gone because I haven't got a left, so I would have been a bit worried I'd missed the foot altogether. But here's the out and the full from Shawnee Dempster, who's played a pretty good game, but it's a really good finish. Can't see much daylight there, and that is really well thought out. He didn't try to overkick the ball, as many players do. Almost looks like it was a last-minute decision just to drop the ball.
He likes it straight off the boot.
Jared Waite's kicked Carlton's last 3 goals, and they lead by 9. The crowd on the edge of their seats here. From the ball up, McAvoy fights on. Jumped on, wrapped up. Umpire waits.
You know, Dwayne, there's only 2 players that are in the 20s as far as possessions go. James Gwilt's had 22 for the St Kilda Footy Club. Bryce Gibbs 21 for Carlton, but you've got Brock McLean alone on 32. He is just knocked up getting the ball today.
And here he is on cue for you. Can't squeeze that out. Again, the umpire circles and gives them an enormous amount of time and says ball.
Jace, has it been a career-saving second half of the season for Brock McLean?
It's been a good second half of the season, hasn't it? Look, he's proven he's a footballer. He can read the play.
Goddard's going to go here, guys. Up and, gee, crunch, sorry. He was lurming for the big leap and he didn't quite bring it down. But you're right, Brock McLean has been under pressure. From the time he went to the Melbourne Football Club, let alone from the time he went to the Carlton Football Club. But
it may well be a decision, Dwayne, that doesn't happen until the new coach's appointment is made.
I think he's done enough.
He's one of the few people who have benefited from getting into a Twitter disaster. Been fantastic since all that blew up. Found his mojo again. Was it in the back or holding the ball? Umpire will split the difference and ball it up. So the Saints, having got one through Stephen, have conceded another one to Waite. Brett Ratten's kids in the box there, watching on. They know their father is just one of the greatest Carlton men of all time. His tenure at the club ends today, but he will always remain a legend of the Carlton Football Club. Dwayne Russell thinks that he's certainly in the frame or one of the candidates for the Port Adelaide job.
Now that you told Rodney Eade he's not allowed to leave Collingwood.
Ball up. Montagna. He's had an interesting day. It's going to come off. No, almost. Wilkes tried to soccer it.
It was a tough bounce to read.
Yeah, and missed. So Montagna gets the behind. And St Kilda go to within 8 points.
Simon White. Straight down the middle and high. Gets under it. McAvoy, Geary, Cruiser made the fist.
Good punch. Oh, they're on. They're
Armfield. Eddie Betts looks up. It's yours, Eddie. You're going to have to take it all the way. Runs inside 50. Keeps it low. Misses.
And he cops the spray there from Dennis Armfield, and rightly so. Armfield ran 30 metres, put the shepherd on. Eddie Betts could have kept bouncing and run it all the way in. It was a great effort by Armfield. He was yelling at Eddie to keep running, and he just took the shot.
Yeah. So Betts has kicked 1-3 now for the afternoon.
1-4, Ed.
1-4.
That was a really good spoil from Cruiser, just to keep the ball going when the 2 St Kilda players were under it.
Another line out of bounds.
He does a lot of team-orientated things. You can see him telling him to run, and you got there to shepherd and give him the space, and then gives him a spray.
Decent spray too.
High tackle, Nick Del Santo.
Well, all these decisions are critical. You know, that opens up a pretty handy lead if they kick the goal there.
So 12 minutes and ticking at the moment. Del Santo gets the high tackle. 9 points the difference. As Dwayne mentioned earlier today, it has just been a battle between sort of 2 goals either way most of the game.
Another
Graham goes for the big torpedo. A lot of hang time. Up in the air it goes. Off hands. Almost picked up there by Saad. Goddard goes in. Dygan gets the handball. Ellard brings it out wide. Simpson's got it now. Looks up. Not much on. Waite gives him a long lead, and that's where he's going to go. He honours the lead. Up it goes. Waite gets to the front spot, and that was sensational.
Great hands.
Absolutely fantastic. Ran 50 metres. Took it. One grab. Now he sets it up into the middle of the ground. Ellard went hard and kept going. It's a long bomb into the sun. Cruz has got the sit. Coming in hard, though. The St Kilda defenders went hard and cleaned up his teammate there. And we'll have a throw in the forward pocket. Let's have a look at what happened there.
Is that Dempster over the top? Gee, it was good.
Look at that.
That's the mark.
Terrific hands. He just extended the arms.
Yeah, he cleaned up McAvoy.
McLean this time, surely! And the Blues edge ever closer to sending their coach off in style.
Well, I think he might go around again, James.
Well, what a game he's played.
He's had a cracker. He was given too much latitude in the first term with those 13 disposals, but he just works really well, whether he's in congestion and a stoppage. Now, see, he had no one with him here. That's a training drill. Actually, it doesn't work like that in a training drill because you're not given that much space. But here's a really nice tap straight down. There you go. And like the couple of goals we saw with Chris Judd benefiting from Cruiser's tap work last week, Brock McLean was the beneficiary on this occasion.
Suddenly, Carlton out to a game-high 15-point lead. Brock McLean playing for his future. He has to impress somebody. He's not quite sure just yet who it is, but he's got it out again. They concede some ground. Dygan's been fantastic today, going in hard. The St Kilda players now know they've got to get the next goal, otherwise this game is gone. It's been a rough, tough affair. Lenny Hayes, as you'd expect, when the chips are down, has a real go. Scotland picks up on the left boot, puts it out in front of his teammate Bell in space. He tries to knock it on. Good play. In goes Gibbs. He was grabbed out of the ball, said the Carlton fans. Knocks it on. Play on, says the umpire. McAvoy picks it up, brings it into Geary. Geary on centre wing just shuts his eyes and bombs it forward up to the forward 50. Out they come. Almost a mark. Spills front and square. It's going to be a goal to St Kilda. They've got it. Armitage has got it on the left foot. Big goal to the Saints, and they're back in it. Just 9 points with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock.
Well, we'd be surprised if it really blows out one way or the other. It's been like this, you know, tit for tat basically since the start. There's just relentless pressure, the ball going forward. Look, Wilkes comes through, crashes the pack, the ball spills out. That's a good finish from right on 50 from David Armitage.
Look, Wilkes mucked that one up. Stanley looked like he was in the prime position to take the mark, but nice finish from Armitage. And back in the side this week, after 1 week on the sidelines, he's been pretty good as well.
Plenty of tired Carlton players out there. There are a couple down on the rotations.
Got a sneaky suspicion there's something left in this game yet.
Cruiser and McAvoy again. McAvoy down to Del Santo. Armitage beaten in the run for it by Simpson. To McLean.
Again.
Gets it up nicely. Bell to half forward, but a little wide. Ellard can't make something of that. And we'll get a ball in.
So 29 scoring shots to 20. And Carlton lead by 9 points. 12-17 plays 12-8.
35 the number of possessions now for Brock McLean.
So if Carlton don't want him, I reckon there's at least a dozen other clubs that might take him on.
Melbourne might want him back. Armitage gets under that a little. To the boundary it travels. Stayed in and kicked on. Most people thought that rolled out. Stanley gathers. Too slick to Malera. Scotland averts the danger. Walker a little wide. And I think he was quite content to see that bounce out in the end arm field, and we'll get a ball in. 9 points the margin, 9 minutes left.
See Ruckman struggling to get there.
They were. Cruiser 5 metres out the back.
And handball to Malera. Had it been 30 centimetres further forward, it was open and goal. But now Carlton bring the ball out. Good play. Sipos, who was off before, looked like he was cooked for the game, is back on. And he thumps it to the boundary line. Throw in. Well, you can see it in front of you there. 9:21. Carlton by 9 points. Del Santo at the bottom of the pack. Look at Cruiser.
Yeah, he's spent. A lot of the Blues are spent because they haven't been able to have the normal number of spells on the bench as they would any other week.
For the best part of about 20 minutes into the second quarter, they've been down to 20 men, and without Chris Judd.
Catch that.
Big high up and under, and catch it he does.
Well, you've got to give Bo Wilkes credit. One thing he does do, he puts his eyes on the footy and he sets sail, and he just attacks it regardless of what he's going to run into or come across.
A huge kick for St Kilda in this game. Wilkes has taken a beautiful mark under pressure, and now he has to finish the job. He'll kick from 50 directly in front. Kick is on its way. It's got plenty on it, but it fades. It's across the goals and through for a behind. He has 2-2 for the day, and Scotland brings it into play for Carlton.
A little wide. It bounces on its end, luckily. Dygan keeps it alive. Simpson, it opens up. Handball over the top. Murphy held up after getting it from Bell. Now Simpson feeds on. 280. He pumps it to the goal square. Waits down there. Got it. Dropped it. Held it a long time. Eddie Betts, forward pocket. A twist. Just got on his toe. Still alive. Wait. Hands it up. Gets it back again. Throws it toward the boundary line and it's smothered across.
See, how good was Dempster? Waite's saying he should have got a free kick, but it was Dempster who can play tall. He just got tangled up with him. Maybe had the left arm over Waite's right arm, but
just a good old-fashioned contest.
Good battle. Good battle, that one. Cruiser got to the spot, knocked it down. In went Garlett, couldn't quite grab it there. Ball up.
Tired players.
Brock McLean again gets up, last man, bottom of the pack. It's been fantastic. So Yaron and Chris Judd, both with hamstrings, have been out for a long time as Bell has a snap at the goal and it's off hands and through for a behind. So Carlton now lead by 8 points.
Tends to go long, Sipos. Here's a beautiful kick of the footy.
Look at that one. That's gone everything of 65, 70 metres. It's punched to the boundary line and a throw in. So give that almost a win to Carlton to keep it in the half-forward line.
Looked like a little bit of cramp starting to set in there for Nick Dygan as well.
Ed Curnow was struggling with cramp just a few minutes ago as well.
Ticked into time on, final term. Knocked down Cruiser, McLean, Scotland.
He should have cramp.
Murphy looks up. He wants a handball target. Bell inside 50, gives it up. Curnow. Garland. Time to spend it. Doesn't spend it wisely enough.
He's been horrible by foot today.
1-3 to Jeff Garland.
His disposal efficiency is 38%, but the number of times he's missed targets, whether it's kicking a goal or to teammates by foot, has been really, really poor today.
Well, this Carlton team are going to torment Brett Ratten right to the very end. It was last week. They absolutely murdered their opposition last week, but couldn't kick a goal.
But that's the difference, Ed. It's whoever makes the most of those opportunities today will win the game.
All right, well, here's the chance for St Kilda now, because Stephen has got it. He kicked one earlier this term from this spot, and he's just about kicked another one. He has. Just to rub insult into injury. It's an 11-point turnaround from Garlett's kick at one end. St Kilda get a goal at the other. And have a look at this. It's a 4-point ball game with 6:45 on the clock. Talk about a race to the finish here.
He had short options, but he was happy to keep going, Jack Stephen. He was running straight at goal. He knew he could cover the journey okay. I think it might have been Malera that he had short, but he just ignored it, kicked it straight over his head. And that's a great finish.
Similar to his last goal, just attacked that right post and just dragged it around beautifully. Nice build-up from Armitage on the left to hit the leading forward in Stanley. But that is a really good finish. The Blues, just some critical kicking errors have cost them.
And the ball up, it favours McAvoy. It's not recalled. Hits the deck. Again, O'Keefe going nowhere. Many AFL games do slip away unremembered, but you can be guaranteed the Carlton fans and their players will forever remember the way they sent their champion Brett Ratten off. 6 minutes to make a statement for the Blues. Ray takes the mark, gives it off to Geary. Stanley, dumped down by Dygan. Scotland.
Just dropped it.
Sard breaks through, gives to Graham. Distance won't be a worry. It's long. It's very long. It's touched on the line. Still alive. Milne of all people.
Is that a dangerous
kick? Way.
Is that not a dangerous kick?
I believe
The Saints will lead here.
Time on. What'd you say? Just clear out, boys. All right. All right. We're going to review it. Goal umpire's decision is a goal, and we'd like to make sure.
The Saints will lead if this doesn't get overturned.
Must admit, I'm with Jace here. Is there a kicking in danger rule?
A dangerous kick. Oh, he's nearly kicked his head off.
His hand's just about on the ball.
That's not definitive.
It's underneath. It's a goal. They'll pay it as a goal because the umpire said that it is a goal, and that's what they have to go with. And there's no way of telling if he's touched that. The point that the boys make, though, is a valid one. Yeah. What's in danger these days?
I've seen worse paid for dangerous kicks.
Absolutely.
Well, It's going to be, as Dwayne said, the kick off the ground to put the Saints in front.
Oh, you're about to hear a massive roar here. There's a roar of approval and at the same time a roar of disapproval. It's a goal. Saints lead by 2. 6 minutes left.
Lots of time left, though.
Former Carlton player Jordan Bannister, the officiating umpire there. And there's a line ball.
Well, it's a tough one.
It's a tough one for the Carlton fans, not only because it's a goal to put Saints in front, but it came from Stevie Milne, who's driven them mad since before the opening bounce.
He's only had 8 possessions. It's his first goal of the day.
So for the first time since the 25-minute mark of the third term, suddenly the Saints are in front by 2 points. McLean again, a high up and under, out to the wing position. This is where it's going to test Carlton. They've been under, no, it's out in the full.
That's off the knee, I think.
He's paid out in the full.
Oh, is that off the, is that off? It's got to
I'd say that's right.
Below the knee.
We'll have a look at that one in a minute. Farron Ray kicks forward. Milne again. Off hands, he steadies it up, kicks it to the hot spot. It was good kick on his behalf. The kick from side, he dropped the ball, should be a free kick. Play on, says the umpire. McLean's got it for Carlton. He kicks it out wide. White needs to present. He gets pushed off the ball. At the fall of the ball, Dempster's done beautifully. The acting St Kilda captain today decides to go long and strong. It's a beautiful kick. Nunes goes up and takes the mark. He was the St Kilda sub, so he's got reasonably fresh legs. Looks into the sun again. A problem all day. But he looks up and finds a teammate. Montagna goes up the line, a beautiful kick, and guess who? Public enemy number 1. Stevie Milne's got it. He'll milk the clock as long as he can and try and kick a big goal from 50 metres. He'll be pretty much on the intersection of the 50-metre arc and the boundary line. Wow, he's kicked the last goal. Controversial off the ground. Was it touched? Was it in danger? Doesn't matter. It's in the scorebook. Stephen Milne to break Carlton hearts. Comes in on the boundary line. He's miskicked it and put it out on the full. Cosmic justice, say the Carlton fans. And they'll reload from the back pocket to try and win this game for Brett Ratten.
Unfortunately for Brett Ratten and the Carlton fans, they don't get the 6 points back for the previous goal, but certainly he's getting under their skin at the moment is Stevie Milne.
I'll tell you what, if you came along to this match today, haven't you got your money's worth?
Oh,
It's had a bit of everything.
Robinson. What have the Blues got in their hearts for their man, Brett Ratten? Can they send him off in style? Arnfield takes off. It's a 2-point game. They could take the lead back here and now. He looks up. He wants an option. Simpson gives it to him. Little 1-2 works okay with Curnow. Simpson 50 out. Wanted Murphy, he missed him. Murphy lays the tackle for him. Cripps comes up with it. Goddard feeds it back. It could be his last minutes for the Saints. Stephen told to go. Shrugs an attempted tackle. Montagna. It could come down to this thrust. Montagna wants to pass. Stanley.
Oh, and he's just feeling the groin a little bit.
Suggests he won't go the journey. He wants someone just to come around the back.
Players are slow getting back. Can he kick it 55 metres? He is a good kicker of the footy normally. Just testing that groin, giving it a little stretch.
He's had some hamstring problems this year as well, kept him to just 12 games. But this is for an 8-point margin to push it out beyond a kick. It's long, it's strong, and it could be the killer.
Well, not too much wrong with that groin, and Brett Ratten has just seen the game slip away. Some desperation there from Robinson to try to lay the tackle, but the run is as expected with the Saints at the moment. They're running harder because the rotations are starting to take its toll.
Reece Stanley, whilst everyone was getting dragged back towards goal, he was pointing back behind him where he wanted the ball kicked. And that's where Montagna kicked it. And he just stopped, propped, and took an easy chest mark.
Saints have kicked the last 4 goals. We knew that those rotations, 2 injuries, Chris Judd and also Chris Yarran, both off with hamstrings. But the 20-minute mark of the second term was when they were both off together. Was always going to take its toll on this side, and it has in the last 10 minutes of play.
What about that tackle by Lenny Hayes?
Because in the last 12 minutes, St Kilda kicked the last 4 goals to go from 15 points down to 8 points in front. Have the Blues got one last shot left in them for their coach, Brett Ratten as Graham goes up the line, and good play as Wilkes just takes it to the boundary line. Minute full-chested, literally, and we'll have a throw in at half-forward flank.
Just went to ground, Mitch Robinson. He's exhausted. He's come off for a spell.
What a battle it's been. Cruiser did the ruck work against Lenny Hayes on that occasion.
He just ducked his head and charged, Dillard. He drew that one.
And got the free kick.
This is where you need your players like Mark Murphy, the gut runners that can find a yard when everyone else is exhausted. They've got to come into it.
So McAvoy playing a kick behind play. He allowed Cruiser to do that ruck work on his own. Back here, St Kilda got plenty of players back, and one of them is that man Wilkes. For the second time in a row, he takes it to the boundary line. Throw in, 2 minutes 40. Still time for Carlton to pull this out of the fire, but it's going to take something special.
And this is what they're best at, this stoppage work from Cruiser.
Stephen Kernahan, it's been a horrible, horrible week for him. Starting at the Gold Coast, beaten in the game that could have put them into the finals. The sacking of his great mate and loyal servant. And now, having led by 15 points halfway through this term, they've given up the last 4 goals.
Footy gods might have one last twist to this tale yet. Judd done for the afternoon. Yaron subbed out. 8 points the margin. 2 minutes and 18 left. Hayes tries to fend off, but with each passing second, the Saints move closer to finishing 9th for 2012.
You just get the feeling Carlton will kick another one to make it close. Such has been the nature of this game.
It's been a long quarter. 32 minutes now. Cruiser. A knock on Montagna. Maybe a bad option. Murphy couldn't collect it, and that leaves it for Cripps. Stephen Milne. Up with Walker. Thump down. Sard. Scotland. It could come down to this ball being won.
Oh,
handball,
no.
poor. Sard gets it back. Fires it goal. Rolls it home. Ahmed Sard with the final blow. And for Brett Ratten, his fate is now known. It'll be a loss to end his career at the Blues. 255 games as a player, captain of this great club, 3-time best and fairest, a premiership as a player. But unfortunately for him, his stint as a coach, as good as it was when he got them inside the 8th to 5th last year, will end with a massive disappointment.
Yep, it ends up being a sad day for him.
Well,
with that last goal, 5 in a row they've kicked.
Carlton crowd behind the goals were giving it to Milne. He was giving it back. Andrew Walker stepped in, gave him a nudge. There might be one last salvo from those two.
St Kilda finishing all over the top. Here it comes. That salvo. Milne kept his feet. Walker from behind. Fall of the ball. They're tired out there, the Blue Baggers. It's going to come out to Malera. He's going to kick another, as he knows. He's just missed. So a brave fight by Carlton.
Yeah, they've got nothing left here.
They are absolutely out of petrol from the 16-minute mark. As I said, 5 consecutive goals to St Kilda has ended Brett Ratten's coaching career. But at least his team, a young team today, came out and had a fight. Injuries to their champion in Chris Judd and also to Chris Yaron always made it hard from just before the half-time bell. But for St Kilda, they've got a young side as well, and they've fought hard to win this game, and win it they will. With a minute left in Brett Ratten's career. Scotland handballs backwards to Walker. Walker at half-back to the wing position. Gibbs kicks it inside 50. Garlett couldn't quite hold the mark.
Was he legged?
Mitchell. And St Kilda clear one more time.
Bouncing ball towards the boundary. Stephen keeps it alive to Goddard. What is his future? Armitage. He looks up and he says, let's hold it up, boys. Let's take some seconds off the clock. He knows the scoreboard reads 34 minutes gone. Back to Goddard. It'll be a 15-point victory to the Saints, unless they bomb this forward and get one last shot at goal. And Graham's been bombing it all afternoon. kiss to the crowd from Stephen Milne. But this is an emotional finish for the Carlton Football Club. It might be a Saints win to end the year. They might finish as the best team outside the 8. Ninth spot is now theirs for 2012 St Kilda. But the story is Carlton. The story is Brett Ratten. 6 seasons as a coach. He might still be a chance for his coaching career to go on at another club. But it ends with a loss for the Blues. 12-19-91 to 16-10-106.
So Lenny Hayes, a great comeback for him this year as far as his knee injury is concerned. Always, when you look through so many stories right throughout both coaching, both the teams playing less, and we're just waiting for Brett Ratten to come down and onto the ground for the last time. While we do, we might go down to David King.
Thanks, Ed. Look, pretty quiet day, Milne. Pretty quiet day out there.
Quiet day at the office. I thought the wrestling was last night, but obviously come on today and tough day at the office. Wanted to finish off well, and the boys there, but they fought all day and have a 3-goal win. It's a great effort.
You were very entertaining. What was between you and Andrew? What under that?
Just trying to get me off my guard, and I think back pocket, he's playing back pocket now, so yeah. What happened on the field stays in the field. It was a good tussle and great win by the boys.
How do you motivate yourself for a game like this? It really doesn't mean a lot, but it seemed to be really heartfelt, this result here for the Saints. 12 wins for the year. It's a good result in the end, but just short of the mark.
Yeah, it was. We've been pretty good all year. You know, a couple of close losses, but we wanted to finish the season off really well, and we did that. They've had a pretty tough week. So to come out and do what we did today, we can take that in 2013. That started a couple of weeks ago for us, so we're just got to keep building, and today we had 10 guys, played under 20 games, so great effort by the Saints.
Well done, mate. Go and enjoy.
Thanks, King.
And Brett Ratten deciding to go around the back rather than go through the public and onto the ground. The Carlton faithful there. And an emotional walk for the last time for Brett Ratten with his 2 boys walking past the Carlton officials. Greg Swan, the chief executive, part of the decision-making process, a tough one. And as you can see there, there's no hard feelings. It was just a tough football decision that had to be made last week, and was made by the chief executive and the board. Brett Ratten's young boys going into the coach's room for the last time. No joy in any of that. No one likes to see it. There's great rivalries in football, but there's also great friendships and great respect. And Brett Ratten is a bloke who walks away from his coaching stint at Carlton with his respect absolutely intact. The Carlton players come off. They probably kicked themselves out of it. Jason Dunstall there a few times in the last quarter had opportunities to extend a 15-point lead and couldn't do so. And in the end, St Kilda, who basically played for the last half with 2 extra men, were able to kick 5 consecutive goals to end a lamentable season for Carlton.
Well, they had 31 scoring shots to 26, the Blues. Didn't get the job done in front of goals. Jeff Garland had plenty of opportunities. He was very wasteful with the footy. Eddie Betts kicked 1 goal for that. Didn't help. Garlett 1-3, but torched a number of other opportunities.
Brock McLean-Stiff hit the post twice.
He did. He kicked 1 goal 3. I feel for Brett Ratten. I understand now it's over. There's a huge emotional letdown from him. He probably just wants to get out of the place. I reckon it would have been nice, though, if he had come out onto the ground and walked off. I think he would have got a really rousing reception from the Carlton faithful, and there were a lot of them that had gathered around the Carlton race, and I think he would have got a wonderful send-off. I understand he probably doesn't need that emotional drain now because it is all over. He just wants to go and spend it with his players, and he will individually seek them all out and thank them for their efforts. But, I think there was a big Carlton crowd here that were pretty respectful of Brett Ratten today and wanted to send him off the right way. It's a shame they didn't get the result.
And Brett Ratten just walking away there. I'm not sure if he's even addressing the players. As St Kilda finish off their year. So we'll just see what was going on in there, whether Brett Ratten was actually just going to address more of the staff or whether he's had his say and that's it. Certainly, as you said there, Jason, the crowd were waiting. David King was saying there was a feeling of anticipation for the Carlton fans to farewell one of their favourite sons, but I think he's probably done enough of that this week. He did the speech, had the press conference, spoke to the players.
He's handled himself beautifully. You can't ask any more of him.
Yep. So Milne, loved so much by the St Kilda fans and absolutely despised by the opposition. He was a constant pain in Carlton's side this week.
Quiet day for Nick Del Santo, just the 13 possessions for him.
Alistair Lynch has gone down to the Carlton room, so we hope to get some more shots there. That's the media manager of Carlton speaking to Brett Ratten and just saying, all right, come on, what are we going to do here? And Brett, obviously, I think single-minded in what he thinks he needs to do, and the Carlton people just trying to say to him, Cootsy down there, just saying, maybe we need to do a press conference. Maybe this is the way we need to go about doing a few things. So Greg Swan speaking to Cootsy. I don't know if they're all on the one page then there as to what's going on. In the meantime, St Kilda finish in 9th position and have done as well as they did last year. I think they might have on the win-loss. I'll just check that. But certainly they've blooded a whole new group of players. They made a statement today not playing Justin Kazitsky, Nick Rewald out of the side. Some young players coming through. I think it was something like 8 players less than 20 games in this team. Yep, the solo performance again by guess who?
Yeah.
Stephen Milne, what a character he is down there. And a big win for St Kilda today. Finishing off Carlton's season 16-10-106, defeating Carlton 12-19-91 by 15 points. We'll come back and wrap up the seasons of the Saints and the Blues and the coaching career at Carlton of one of their favourite sons, Brett Ratten, on the other side of the break here on Fox Footy, live and uninterrupted in HD.